Nice.
Yeah, Red Bar did just go live. What up, y'all? So this is what? Is this the 4th episode?
Yep.
4th episode of the show. Jeremy's here.
There we go.
So Chris, we've just been meeting up every week and just kind of shooting the shit. It's been kind of fun. Each one we've done has gotten more views, so like it's been kind of cool. But yeah. So Chris is a special guest today. Whoa, sorry, I need my mic. You probably didn't hear me. So Chris Hines is our special guest today. I met Chris last year after me and Allie did the first debate with Garland Farms. It kind of ended abruptly. I had always planned on doing multiple, but after, Garland had this argument that he had that basically we spent the whole debate on, and I didn't quite, me and Allie understood, but we didn't quite know how to explain why he was wrong. And so Chris hit me up out of nowhere and he's all, hey, what was it? It was the co-product thing. And I was just, I knew when he said co-product, I was all, oh my God, because I knew that was exactly what I needed. That someone to show me that there's another word for the exact thing that's going on. And then we did the second debate, and Chris came in and kind of helped me wipe the floor with Garland. And then Garland met up with us. Me and Chris were doing just a live stream, and Garland showed up, and that's when we got him to concede on the debate topic, the debate premise, which was more
soy is fed to animals than it is.
More soy is fed to animals, but the premise of the debate was which plant-based or meat-based does more harm to the environment. And but then I guess Chris has been trolling Garland for a long time. Garland really has captivated a lot of British vegans, UK vegans.
I still love the fact that you think there's some international effort going on.
He still just made another video pointing that stuff out.
He genuinely thinks that I've been assigned to him. There's some big broccoli or something that have gone, Chris, your mission is to destroy Garland Farms. And I'm
he wishes anyone thought about him more than we already do.
I just enjoy debunking his nonsense. That's it. That's all it is. It's just fun.
Yeah, so we've had a lot of fun in the short amount of time we've known each other. Chris is also a musician. His ska band just got back together, and they had a couple big shows, which was pretty funny. It's so funny watching you play on a stage because I just know you from here. So oh, Chris is jamming. And then also Chris is doing a documentary about veganism in music. Which is he's really going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's the big project, and it's going really good. I've got I can watch the film now, which is the first time.
Wow, it's that much put together, huh?
Yeah. Actually, it's just getting optimized at the moment.
Yeah,
so, yeah. It's
actually like a film now instead of just a bunch.
There's a cat scratching at the door. I don't know if you can see. I need to let the cat.
The cat's too busy put his hand in there. Cat, man. Cats are funny as shit. I was a dog person growing up. But, oh my God. That is the cutest cat. It's got a black nose. Hitler cat.
Yeah, she'll be scratching otherwise all night.
Or Charlie Chaplin.
Cats are funny.
Yeah, we got 6. So.
Jeez! 6 cats. Oh, I feel like you
that's
told me
nothing.
That
when I first met my partner Taylor, when I first moved in here, we had 18. So.
Oh my God!
Yeah, all strays, all rescues.
I could see Jeremy Gord having 10 cats.
I don't mind cats, but I definitely like dogs much more. I'm into the. I almost said more intelligent animals. Dogs are more intelligent than cats. The average.
Are they?
No, I'm really interested in in like teaching dogs things, the psychology,
obedience training.
Yeah, I like dogs and I like pigs a lot.
Nice.
Cats are cool, you know.
Pigs are humans.
I don't object to cats.
Pigs are humans.
Everyone says
like
that unless
people
they've had cats for a long time, and then you realize how awesome they are.
Yeah.
Cats are pretty funny. I didn't really like cats growing up, and then now that I've been around a cat, I definitely like cats now. I definitely find myself 2 hours in watching cat videos. And then, like, whenever I see them now, I'm like, kitty! Like, I'm like, I don't really have cat energy very much. Like, cats are always like, oh, God, this guy. But I like cats now. And our cat is really, really funny. He's a trip. He's a little shit, but he's a funny little dude. They are weird and smart in their own weird way. There's definitely, like, there's, like, lots of dogs I come across that don't seem as smart as cats. But you can train them. But anyway, yeah.
Who knows?
You know, I live in the mountains here with a lot of wild animals that, in our context, they've become very, very liminal, very synanthropic. You know, they're really tame deer. As long as you don't fuck with them. You know, wild turkeys, these flocks of wild turkeys that are just really chill walking down the road and getting pretty close to people. You know they can take care of themselves if they need to, so they're not freaked out by people or dogs or cars.
Allie and I were in Santa Cruz this last summer, and there are turkeys everywhere up there. We'd be riding through the mountains, and we'd like almost hit a huge, like 40 of them. Like, and then the big males are crazy. There's mountain lions everywhere. So you're like, how are there so many turkeys alive? But then you see the males, like when they get crazy, and you're like, oh, okay, I get it. Like,
That's why they take on the lions.
Yeah.
That's pretty badass.
Trying to get some revenge.
So Chris, me and Braxton just watched a vegan, vegetarian, carnivore debate on this channel. Okay. Yeah, it ended up. It was like not a debate. The guys that were moderating it, they're two dudes, British dudes. I don't know. What do you guys call you guys these days, Chris? Is it UK, British?
Yeah,
it's English, all of them, right?
English, I always say.
Yeah, I guess UK would be the last one you would be personifying someone. Yeah, English. It was a couple of English dudes. They had no idea like how to do debate structure, and they just had these three people on. And they just all kind of like it was really disappointing because I was all, ooh, cool debate, like, oh, I'm gonna, but then it was just chaos. And so I just started trolling the lady that was the carnivore, and I got her to like yell at me on the show, like in between. I was all carnivore lady has steroid flush right now. Why is she so red? And all these people were like, yeah, whoa, why is she so red? And then she's all, I'm not red, it's just my lighting. She was like so mad.
Did they still put a decent enough argument in though? Would they have still won the debate?
No, I kept going in the chat, and I'm all, dudes, like, you need to like get them to like debate a premise, like a topic, like something specifically, or no one's gonna learn anything. We're just gonna see what we've seen a million times before, a bunch of people spewing bro facts and shit, like. But these dudes weren't even like, they had no idea. Like, everyone thinks they know. Everyone thinks a debate is a discussion, and it's not. And like discussions, nothing ever goes anywhere. So yeah,
why
so
would
I just
anyone even think that a debate, like just a verbal debate without even slides or any research to discuss, would be a good venue for dietary science.
Yeah.
you can have that sort of debate on ethical, certain
and then
kind
the
of
vegan
issues, but
the vegan guy,
and you're just gonna. What anybody can make whatever fucking claim they want, and you don't have any
exactly. No one's looking at anything. No one's seeing each other's work. So the vegan that they picked, halfway through his terrible opening statement, tells everyone that he does cocaine
Yeah. Just have a couple of
We're
tortilla
like,
chips.
dude, no. Me and Allie are sitting here watching this, and Allie's like, I gotta go. I can't deal with this. I can't handle this right now. She's like,
He
I gotta
literally,
go.
he was
She
saying like
gets
he had
so
a couple
triggered
of
by shit like that.
he was saying he had a couple tortilla chips, and that was enough to like set him off. Like, oh, next thing you know, I'm doing a line of coke, and like my life falls apart. Like, dude, like
He's blaming veganism for his like, oh, it was because he like wasn't vegan. He said he was vegan. But then he was all raw vegan. He's like, oh, even vegan people, they're all unhealthy because they aren't eating raw. But then turns out, dude doesn't even sound like he was vegan at all.
So he's just plant-based, like, basically.
Drinking every day and doing cocaine and shit. And I'm just like, dude, why'd they obviously picked this guy for a reason. And then it turns out that the two dudes are like metards. So, you know.
Well, that's one of the big problems, isn't it, with the vegan movement, is there's so many people who identify as vegan, but they're not. They don't even know what vegan is. They just eat a plant-based diet and think, that's it, I'm vegan. They're actually, you ask them what the definition is, they wouldn't even know.
We pointed that out. Me and Braxton pointed that out a couple times. That it's like,
it happens all the time.
Fad dieter. It's a fad dieter trying something plant-based and not taking it completely serious. And then whenever people go plant-based, they start fasting too at the same time. And then they'll, you know, and it's like, dude, you're not getting any, you know, no wonder it's not.
It's always the signs, isn't it? Raw vegan, fasting, juicing.
Yes.
As soon as everyone's doing that, then you're just like, do you actually know what a vegan is? Or you just,
and then they go carnivore and they're like, oh, veganism is terrible. It's the stupidest thing I've ever done. And it's like, yikes.
Yeah. Don't live on kale juice and maybe you'll feel better.
Yeah. Like you have to eat. And then they're all vegans are sugar phobic too, almost. I mean, I'm making blatant statements, but the general vegan that you'll come across will also be carb phobic or sugar phobic, which you can't deny your body of that much shit. Like,
well, I got something you'll like about sugar. Actually, are you familiar with the hardcore band Good Clean Fun?
Yes, I played with them in Arizona.
Oh, did you? Okay, so you know the song Sweet Tooth?
I do. Yeah.
So if you listen to their live record, it's so funny. They're like, "Is there any vegetarians here?" kind of thing, and they're like, "Yeah," and they're like "You're all pussies" or something, like insulting them.
Yeah, no, those dudes are hysterical.
Yeah,
they came out on stage and they're all, "Oh, we're like sick. We've been touring. We're really sorry. This show's gonna suck." And then they just like went into like the craziest, like perfectly clean, like everything was. They're funny dudes, very funny.
Yeah, what I thought was funny is
popping up a lot lately.
Yeah, what I thought was funny is they obviously are asking who was vegan, and then they were like, "Yeah, that's better, but I bet most of you eat sugar. Sugar is torture. Sugar is death." And they cut into this song because apparently I don't know if it's still the case, but you guys used to have like bone char in your sugar.
Yeah. They used to filter it in bone char.
Is that still a thing?
Like the 80s, and then
Yeah, because
it's not in the sugar. It's a
process, a filtering process.
So like whitening, I think, right?
That's like proper, like hardcore, like we don't even eat sugar, kind of thing. Which but there's a song about it called Sweet Tooth. You should check it out. It's especially on the live.
When I was vegan in the 90s, we dodged sugar like crazy. Remember, dude, it was insane. Like, just because I wasn't eating McDonald's, I thought I was healthy, but I was drinking soy milk all day and like TVP and just like. The rudimentary vegan food from the vintage novelty vegan food.
I will say, Jeffy, as a home chef, it is kind of interesting in the process of going vegan and veganizing recipes and so forth. You realize how much that regularly gets added to recipes, especially in baking. It's just kind of done out of habit and just
oil,
just cultural inertia. You realize
oil
that
there's no reason to put oil in food except
you
for
realize
helping, like
you can leave out the oil, you can leave out the sugar and just use applesauce and leave out the egg and the thing is like virtually indistinguishable. So people are just adding all this crap just because that's what they learn to add. So you don't have to be sugar phobic, but you do kind of realize like people are just putting sugar in just because other people have done it,
Yeah.
Yeah,
just
I mean,
the pointlessness of so much of what we do.
The tradition of eating meat is why we're all here. Like it's a tradition. It's not something that needs to happen. It's something that everyone's just seen everyone do and falls into, and it's forced on them when they're too young to have any choice. I've said this story before, but I used to take my daughter to when she was like 3 to a petting zoo, and I'd be like, hey, do you want to eat these things? And she's like, no, she's like, hell no. And then, after 1 year in public school, meat makes you strong, and it's like, okay. And they call us culty, that's scary.
Yeah, it is crazy. It is just all social conditioning ultimately, isn't it? That's all it is.
Yeah.
Just
what are things like out there, Chris?
Well, out where? What, in
Me
England?
and Braxton were talking earlier about how the UK is kind of the mecca of veganism now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
especially for how small it is.
I mean, it's like Veganuary here. Do you have is Veganuary a thing in the US as much as it is here?
Only on the internet.
Yeah.
Oh god! Right. Well, here, literally every single chain restaurant, every supermarket just releases so many new products. We've got so much stuff. Yeah, honestly, it's insane. It's a huge thing here. They talk about it on the news. It's like a big deal. Loads of people. I think they got 700,000 people signed up this year, which is the most they've ever had, which is just insane.
So people sign up, and then the businesses see that there's people there that are willing to pay for the food, and so they make the food.
Yeah, exactly. So
holy shit!
So they basically just release all their stuff, this time of year to kind of test it to see what people like, and then they'll kind of slowly whatever's the best they'll keep rolling, or they'll release it a bit later on. But it's beyond easy here. It's just ridiculous.
Well, because isn't this like the time of the year where people like Joey Carbstrong and some of the bigger UK vegans, they start to do like their news circuit for the year, for Veganuary.
Yeah. Everyone starts kind of a big push because they just know that there's so many new kind of potential vegans all looking for content and everything. Yeah. So they everyone just goes a bit crazy on, just promoting. But it's weird because it's become so normal here. It's Veganuary, but to me now, because I've been vegan for so long and there's so much vegan products out there, I'm not even majorly bothered. I'm just like, oh yeah, there's new products, whatever kind of thing. Which is crazy because before I used to be like, oh my god, I can get a chocolate croissant or something. I can get this and this and this, but I can get that anytime now. So
did you hear that, Jeremy?
I wasn't listening when.
Okay.
When I wasn't here, my headset was plugged in.
So in Veganuary, all the vegans sign up, and so all the businesses see that there's this demand of these people ready to eat their food, and in January they make all this vegan food for this group that's already there waiting for it. The incentive is there, instead of these companies, trying something out and it not really, Burger King, or Taco Bell now has vegan cheese, and they put the one thing in there, and it doesn't really get, they don't really know. They're testing. In the UK, there's this list of what you said, 70,000 people.
Yeah, no, 700,000.
700,000.
Yeah. I think that's how many people signed up. I'm pretty sure. I can double check that, but I'm pretty sure.
So these companies are all, oh shit, there it is. That's who we're going to be selling this stuff to. We'll probably sell a lot of it, So that's amazing. That's really cool. Weird free market,
What's interesting about Taco Bell too is they have this term fresco style, which just means make the item vegan, right? That is literally what it means.
So
but
easy bean and rice
at Taco Bell, make it fresco means make it vegan, take away everything that has animal products, and it just
puts tomatoes in it.
But it avoids the scary word. It avoids the scary label that makes you a weirdo.
Taco Bell's cool.
Wanting your
Never
items
Taco Bell.
vegan, you can say you want them fresco, and then you don't have to be weird.
So
I just
you walk
looked up
up
the
to the
stats. I just looked at the stats. It was 700,000 last year. So this year will be more. And the good thing about Veganuary is obviously it's a bit like, like you have like, like dry January where people don't drink for the month or something, but because it's like that, everyone's signing up for Veganuary is obviously getting put into Facebook groups and basically getting taught what veganism is, all about animal ethics, all about the environmental things. So they're literally coming out at the end of the month. It's almost like a conveyor belt. You just grab people like, oh, you're interested, put them through the Facebook groups. Here's all the stuff in the supermarkets. And by the end of January, there's a load of people going, oh yeah, actually this is, we should be doing this. And there's all this amazing stuff available. So it's creating a hell of a lot of vegans, which is pretty amazing.
That's really, really, really cool.
I'm trying to get it's weird because it's become so normalized to me that I don't even.
No, that's mind blowing. For us, that's crazy.
Yeah, like if you guys saw how much, like, if I went down to the freezer and just grabbed a load of stuff out of my freezer, you're pretty like, what the hell? How have you got this stuff?
Like the only like nice vegan place that's a chain is called Crossroads, and they have.
Oh yeah, I've been to Crossroads. That's amazing.
Dope. Yeah, and then we went out the other night for Allie's birthday there, and it's just like, I don't know, it's so expensive.
Don't forget Veggie Grill. Veggie Grill's a classic.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get Allie sponsored by Taco Bell. They're dope. So you walk in, you walk up to the menu. There's a swiper that says "Make it veggie," and you just the first thing it says is "Make it veggie" or not. Like they give the two options, and you swipe it veggie, and it shows you all the vegetarianable food that they have.
Right.
And then you go down to Fresco, and it takes the cheese out. It's like the cheesy beat for like broke vegans in California or anywhere where there's a Taco Bell. Cheesy bean and rice burrito, it's like $1.39. Then you make it Fresco, and then it's like $1.29 a piece, and it's like, and you can like add stuff to it obviously, but it's like so cheap.
I've just looked at ours. Cheap. Like we've got Taco Bell in the UK, and it's saying here we've got like a vegan seasoned beef Taco Bell kind of thing. Have you got the same one? Have you?
Yeah, we had it at Del Taco for a while. They were using Beyond Beef, but it was kind of like it's like too oily. We don't do oil, so it's like the oil stuff is too much. They put
just wondering whether they did anything for us, like to see if there's anything kind of different over here than you guys.
Well, you guys have Little Caesars, right? Don't they have vegan pizzas?
I've never been to Little Caesars, but we've got
maybe that's Australia.
Everywhere. We've got Domino's does vegan pizza, Papa John's does vegan pizza, Pizza Express does vegan.
What?
Yeah, I live in a small little town. I can order vegan sushi on Uber Eats. Like it's like a whole platter.
No way. Fuck, dude. That's crazy.
Like a spoiled rich kid, like UK in the like terms of veganism is like the spoiled rich kid that gets everything, and everybody's like, oh no way.
It really is, and it's moved so quickly. I've got a video on my YouTube channel from when would that have been? Probably like 5 years ago, and I was really excited that I could go into a supermarket and buy a falafel wrap. That was like a big thing. I made a video about a falafel wrap. And now that's like normal. That's like everyday shit kind of thing. Yeah. And now we can just get the most crazy stuff. So it's moved really, really quickly. But obviously the UK is such a smaller place than the US. That's the thing. You know, to get it all over the US is going to be a lot bigger. I mean, you go to LA. I mean, it's all over the place. But
it's tough, man.
Yeah, where are you guys? Where are all you guys in the States?
I'm in LA.
You're in LA.
In Washington.
Yeah.
You're in Washington. Okay.
I'm in.
Jeremy, where are you from?
I'm now in my hometown in Northern California, in the mountains in the Sierra Nevada.
Okay. Nice.
I usually live in South Korea teaching English to kids.
Okay. Amazing.
So I was going to say about Korean Taco Bells. There aren't really that many of them. It's not widespread like a lot of other American fast food chains, but the Taco Bells in Korea don't have refried beans.
Oh, really? I thought that would be like the standard.
There's something where I guess in like Korean culture, their palate just perceives refried beans as something really disgusting, kind of like pet food, or because there aren't generally many refried beans in markets and stuff either. They're just not used to eating them. And so the Taco Bell is completely not vegan friendly in Korea.
It's like McDonald's in Japan.
Yeah.
McDonald's in Japan had pizza with fish on it. It was
Really?
the weirdest thing. Yeah. Japan's a weird place, man.
That's really weird.
I was in Japan, in Tokyo, for a month as a vegan in 2003. It was wild. I lost a lot of weight.
Living on rice. Yeah.
Ate a lot of natto. Do you know what natto is?
Oh yeah.
Fermented
I've heard about it. Apparently,
it's actually pretty good once you get acquired to it. I would eat the shit out of some natto right now, still to this day. But I remember it took a while because it's just like it's snot. It looks like snot with like curds in it. Like it's just
what is it exactly? What is it?
It's fermented soybeans, but it's like pasty, kind of funky, but like as a vegan, you'd get it after you ate it a couple times. You're all, oh, this is actually like really good. Like, and then the Indian restaurants obviously saved us really. Like we would have probably died without Indian restaurants.
Do you guys eat Marmite and Vegemite?
Oh no, I don't.
I eat the shit out of Marmite.
That shit's gross.
Yeah, if you would go to the UK, I'd make them bring me back.
I sailed on a boat from Valparaiso, Chile, to San Francisco with a couple that was from England, and they brought like a case of that shit, and I could probably try it now and be like, oh, I get it. But back when I was a kid, I made fun of them so much because of that shit.
It still tastes like shit today.
Yeah, and they brush their teeth with soap, hand soap.
Yeah, it's probably the only time I will eat it is when you can put it into like a chili or something, and it just gives it a little bit of a flavor, but not really a Marmite flavor. It kind of just thickens it up. Yeah, that's about the extent.
I'd imagine it's kind of like aminos, like veggie aminos or coconut aminos. It's like just thicker. It's like just kind of like a veggie.
So it's like a paste,
tincture paste or something. You know,
it's like oil you put in your car or something. It's just I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not keen on shit.
But that's so wild that there's so much vegan food there.
Yeah, it honestly is. Like, if you ever come over, I'll take you around, and you'll be like, "What the hell? This is insane."
You're the only person who could get me to go there.
Yeah, literally everywhere. Like have you ever used Happy Cow? Do you know the Happy Cow?
Yes.
Yeah. So like me and Taylor, my partner, we went down to Cornwall, which is right down in the southwest, and it's kind of all small little towns and stuff. And we were looking on Happy Cow to try and find a place to eat, and we were kind of like, oh, we don't really know. Everywhere looks quite far away and everything. And we were literally stood right next to a pub, and literally went in the pub, and they did vegan fish and chips. They did like all this other stuff, and we're just like, what the hell? Like, we don't even need this app anymore. Like, literally, just go into anywhere.
It's just like, useless. Yeah.
Yeah. That's like I can't remember the last time I went somewhere and there wasn't at least something. Like it's like it's so normal now. Like I don't even think about it half the time. It's just.
Do they have stuff at McDonald's?
Yeah, we get them at.
They don't here.
Yeah, we got them
at
a
single thing.
Yeah,
it's still their classic menu.
We can get stuff at KFC. We can get stuff at Subway. We can get stuff at Burger King.
We just got chicken nuggets from KFC. Yeah, and they're not really that good. I tried them.
McDonald's is like, even if you're just going in to get a black coffee, it's like McDonald's pumps this vile smell. It just pumps like. I think they do. I think they actually do it on purpose, right? They pump this smell of like.
It's like Las Vegas and all the casinos.
Processed meat, right?
Yeah.
To make you know that you've entered a McDonald's. It's just. It's like
the signature funk.
That's crazy. Yeah, like Devin lives in Vegas. I've been to Vegas. Vegas is easier to get vegan food than some parts of LA because LA is so dense. Like if you go to Venice or any of the like hip parts of town, you'll find vegan food. But the second you leave, there's nothing. Like,
Oh,
you
really?
leave that area, go into Van Nuys or the Valley or something like that, and it's just like there might be one place every 20 miles or something. Like,
have you been to what's it called in LA? Aulac. Do you know Aulac? It's called. I think it's AULAC.
No.
Okay, it's run by a guy called Chef Ito. He's taken a vow of silence, so he doesn't talk because he thinks words are violence, which is amazing. But somehow he can communicate with you really easily. But that place is incredible. If you want really good vegan stuff, yeah, go to Aulac. And I remember last time, because we were activists and stuff, he ended up giving us loads of free food and everything, which is awesome. Yeah, he used to always be at the slaughterhouse vigils in Fearman's Pork. He used to always be there taking photos.
ALAC.
Yeah, the guy's a legend. I absolutely love that guy.
Aulac?
Yeah, AULAC.
AULAC.
Yeah,
what part of town is this?
Hold on, let me see if I can find it for
Like,
you.
it's French.
It is in
At the lake.
it just says West First Street, Los Angeles. I don't know where that's.
Oh, that's downtown.
Downtown, then, yeah.
Interesting. I'll have to check that out. There's a place called Fromage across from the Laugh Factory.
Okay.
That is a French guy who has a little bakery. He makes French bread fresh, and then he has these cheeses that he's made out of nuts and stuff. He makes different ones every day and only makes so many. So like once he runs out, he shuts down, but it's like really good sandwich. There's like stuff like that, in Hollywood area, like you can find little things, but as far as like chains, none of like Burger King has an Impossible Burger, but I think they use the same stuff that they throw it on with the meat ones and stuff. There's no one really caring that much. Yeah, like Taco Bell, that's why it's kind of cool. Taco Bell is kind of like pretty upfront, like, hey, you should eat more vegetarian stuff, like to their customer base, which no one else does. That's for sure.
Is Veggie Grill still a thing?
Grill. But I went there once and it was pretty mediocre.
I quite liked it when I went, but this was quite a while back.
Yeah.
It's like 2017.
That's the problem. That's like with the Crossroads place. Like when I went back in the day, it was like, holy crap, like really high end, like really nice. And then going the other night, it was just like, oh, this place went downhill big time.
Oh, really?
No one who works there is even vegan. Where back in the day, everyone who worked there was vegan. Everyone really cared, and it's just like,
yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to think where else I went. I went to Cruiser Pizza. I remember that. Doomies.
My friend owns Doomies. Doomies is dope. Doomies is like junk food, though.
Yeah, good shit, food. And there was another place down near where Disney is as well. I can't remember what that place was called though, but that was pretty
Disneyland.
Cool.
We have
there was a place right near there.
Did you go to California Adventure?
No, we didn't actually go into Disney. We only went into. I went into Universal when it was the Halloween Haunt Night.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's fun. That all the cool. Halloween amusement parks, when they do the Halloween stuff, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, that was pretty rad. I can't remember what the other place was called, but yeah, this was quite a while ago. But yeah, we found it pretty easy when we were over there. I was actually, at that time, LA was easier than the UK. We were just like blown away. We were like, oh my god. But now I'd probably say it's easier here.
We have Mod Pizza too, right? Jeffrey, you been to Mod Pizza? It's like build your own pizza.
Oh yeah. And they just have everything.
Personal size pizza, like assembly line kind of thing, and with tons of toppings. And yeah, they have plant-based cheese. I think it's Violife. It seems like Violife. And plant-based sausage crumble too.
That's crazy.
That place near Disney is called Healthy Junk.
Healthy Joke in Anaheim.
Healthy Junk, yeah.
Healthy Junk, yeah. There's stuff around. There's definitely some really decadent places too, but yeah, that's so cool. We got to try and do that here. We got to get like all the UK heads to help us push the veganuary here.
It's a shame I can't just send you loads of stuff. It's so awkward to send stuff to the States these days. Otherwise, they could just package you up like everything.
Yeah. I feel like COVID probably killed a lot of vegan places too, or the momentum that was going. And it's really weird because so many businesses, they got those loans, and like LA looks completely different now because of all the PPA loan money. And there's all these new businesses, and it's pretty wild. But yeah, that's so crazy. So every year there's way more people signed up there.
Yeah.
We were just
every year
watching that
without fail.
podcast.
It's just gone up and up and up.
We were just watching that podcast, and this the carnivore lady was just like 90% of people who go vegan stop, and they go, you know, they stop because they got serious health reason. You know, it's just like that kind of a discussion going on. I'm just like, whoa, where are these numbers coming from? Like, I can't even.
Have you actually looked into that study though? Because people say that all the time, but it's quite interesting because if you actually look at the people in the study that did it for ethical reasons, like actually became vegan, their sticking the percentage of them sticking is extremely high. It's only the people coming in and doing it for a fad diet, but you could say that for any diet. People that do Atkins or 5-2, or they go on some juice cleanse, they all just do it for a while and fall off. But the actual people that do it for ethical reasons stick at it more than probably any other diet.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's
they have way more reason to, you know. And it's just, I mean, there's been studies where they're looking at the personality types of vegans, and they're like, oh, these people just care more. They're just people that are predisposed to caring about stuff more, you know. And there's the whole like, oh, vegans are all on antidepressants and all these things that come out, and it's just because we care more, you know. Like we're just different. You know, our brains work a little bit different.
Yeah.
You think that's the? I mean, I guess you looked at studies, but is that the main psychological difference? Is greater empathy? Because just, you know, kind of anecdotally, and then like listening to a lot of Melanie Joy and some other what's her name? What's Dystopia? Claire Mann, psychologist. It seems like the largest difference is probably something about openness to experience and willingness to be weird.
I think that definitely plays into it. I think when it comes to kind of, you know, people adopting the vegan lifestyle, though, it's, you know, if you're just doing it, if you just want to try and be healthy, there's nothing to stop you going, oh, you know what, I'm going to have a cheat day. But with us, we're like, oh, no, we're not going to have a cheat day because this animal's going to get its head cut off. So there's such like a strong reason not to do it. That it's not a diet to us. It's our morals. I think that's the best way to do it. It becomes, it's not just a dietary choice. It's not like I can't eat that. It's I won't eat that. Yeah, I think that's probably what differentiates it.
I think that, but it's not only I won't eat that. At least not for me. I kind of, I mean, get into the weeds of ethical philosophy, but I'm not just saying I won't. I'm saying it's bad, and in fact, I'm saying it's much worse than lots of other things that you would be considered a monster for doing. In our society. So I'm inherently making a claim against the people around me, and that's you know, for most people gonna trigger these fears of being exiled from your community, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that is a problem that does need to be addressed in the movement. I think you know, vegans are very quick to attack other vegans over tiny mistakes sometimes as well, where if we could just lend more support to people and go, hey, why are you struggling? What do you need help with? And stuff, I think we would keep more people in. You know, there is a lot of that, especially in Facebook groups. It's just toxic and everything. But you know, I think that's just going to get easier and easier because the more it becomes, especially like over here, for example, the more it becomes a mainstream movement, you don't feel so alone. You don't feel so isolated. You don't feel like the only vegan in the village kind of thing, because you've got people all around you and you've got a support network. So I think it's kind of a temporary problem. But I also do think that out of, which I've spoken to people about before, I think that veganism is probably the most hardcore social justice issue that you could ever adopt, because it is the only issue where literally on the spot, the moment you decide to go vegan, you are literally saying fuck you to the entire system. You're against 99.9% of the entire planet. And you are open instantly to exile, to ridicule. You've got to literally change everything you eat, everything you wear, everything you support. Literally straight away, I can't think of any social justice issue where the moment you adopt it, you have to make such a huge life change. So that's why I think that veganism is punk as fuck in that respect.
Yeah,
because
and libertarian as fuck.
Yeah, because you're there is no other social justice issue where the moment you decide to adopt it, you make such a huge change in all aspects of your life. And I think that should be commended. I think people that are vegan should get a bit more credit, even from other social justice issues, even if they don't think even if they're not convinced about veganism yet, they have to accept that, damn, these people actually stand by what they say, like vehemently and violently, but stand by what they say.
Yeah, it's not just a virtue signal. Like there's actions that follow.
Yeah, we don't virtue signal at all. We don't just go, oh, I care about this kind of thing, which is what a lot of people do. Like, oh, this is bad, and I don't support it, but they don't actually have to do anything. We literally have to. The day everyone goes vegan, it's like, shit, what do I eat? I need to go and redo my entire cupboard, everything. I need to think about everything I wear. I need to not do this anymore. That's a huge thing. That's fucking awesome that people do that. And so I think anyone who's vegan is a part of the most badass social justice issue ever. Commend you all for doing it, because
it's a paradox though, right? Because if we're truly for the animals, which means outward focus, patient focus, focused on the actual result, not focused on our own motivations and how punk we are or how libertarian we are, then we need to pursue vegan choices being boring, being it needs to become what conformist people do.
Yes, totally.
That needs to be the end goal, because it's never going to be the case, almost by definition, that a majority of humans are going to be nonconformist or highly nonconformist.
I know exactly what you mean. I mean, ultimately, the end result is the word vegan doesn't exist anymore. Vegan is just just the baseline. It's just normal. It's just what everyone is, which would be great. I don't want to have to label myself as a vegan in the future. I just want to be me and know that everything around me is not harming animals.
Yeah, as you could see, I had to change the name of the freaking show. The show is getting more views, but I immediately, the first night of the episode, started losing followers, which is something that's never happened before. And I've just been looking at everything, and it's just, man, it's the big V word, man. People just, it's funny. Okay, so there's a buddy of me and Allie, a cyclist. He's a big YouTuber. His name's Vegan Cyclist, right?
Right.
He's the biggest YouTuber cyclist YouTuber on YouTube, but he just changed his name because, same reason. It's just like he's alienated half of the people that would have watched his videos just by having that word up there, And so while it's fun to be able to attract your like-minded people around here to like-minded friends, it just deters so much. And I've been trying to get more of my normal friends to come on, or my non-vegan friends to come on the show, and they're like, no, it's a vegan show. I'm not going to go on a vegan show. They'll tell me they will, but then they won't. And it's just okay, well, the panel's going to predominantly be vegan no matter what, because we're all here doing this. But it'll just be easier to make that, to be able to have those conversations with everyone else, and just not have the scary V word up there.
Actually, I'm interested in your guys' thoughts. There was a guy from Direct Action Everywhere who made a video proposing that we should actually drop the word vegan and rebrand the entire movement. Because if you look through history, things like the suffragettes, for example, they were known as the suffragettes then, and they're known as feminists and the women's rights movement. There's kind of evolution in the term, even with things like abortion. You've got anti-abortion, pro-life, heartbeat, something I can't remember, heartbeat movement or something. There's all different names for it. And he was proposing that because vegan has now become so bastardized in the fact that people just think it's a diet, or they think it's a
political position. People think it's a political position.
Whether it should be something that we should drop, and he's kind of saying, we, instead of being vegan, we should just be animal liberation activists. Because
I back that 100%.
Yeah, which I like the term. So it's an interesting thing is, whether it would work or not, because obviously you then are kind of starting from scratch again. But ultimately, would it work in the long run? Because I find I don't refer to myself as a vegan that much anymore. I call myself an animal rights activist.
Yeah.
Because I think I identify more as that. I think, that's what I do. I go in, I do activism. I go into factory farms. I expose things. I do all this shit. I think that goes beyond just veganism, which is just a moral baseline.
That's the baseline. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that the movement could do with a rebrand, or do you think we should stick with what we got?
I'm an ethical consequentialist, and I think scalar consequentialism is true. So I don't think the concept of a moral baseline even makes any sense. There's no point at which you stop being better by doing more good in the world. And the definition, maybe I probably think this about all sorts of moral terms, that focusing on arguments about the definition and the boundary, the marginal cases, what counts as vegan or not vegan on the edges, it's mostly wasted energy, compared to the very, very clear cases of the worst unnecessary harm, getting that stopped, opposing that, getting more and more people to oppose it, changing the world for the cows and pigs and chickens and fish. And instead of, arguing about bug zappers for mosquitoes and arguing about oyster sentience and arguing about whether what's the difference between paying to watch a film where actors are riding horses, not vegan, but paying to watch a baseball game where the gloves and balls and shoes are made of leather is vegan. And
if you get them at a thrift store, they're vegan.
Energy at splitting these hairs at the margin detracts from.
Chris, I met Jeremy in a group where everyone split hairs like crazy. So it's
really?
we hang out now, so we don't have to watch the loop going over and over and over and over again.
If you imagine the slavery abolitionists, if they had spent most of their energy arguing about whether these very marginal cases of having your child do chores and not paying them counts as slavery, instead of fighting against the very clear.
Yeah, I do know. I do know what you mean. I think sometimes, if everyone was kind of focused on the main thing, we'd probably get stuff done a lot quicker, rather than having these kind of real kind of smaller arguments.
Doing activism instead of talking about activism.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess one thing it does though is, veganism still a fairly new movement. Obviously, the word was only coined in 1944, so we're still kind of figuring it out. People still aren't happy with the definition. I reckon there'll probably be a redo of the definition at some stage. I think it's changed multiple times already, and I think we're just trying to figure it out. So I think these conversations they can have a good effect in working out what our goals are. But ultimately, sometimes we do get a bit lost in the weeds and just argue over things when it's just this really doesn't make a difference at this time. This is a conversation we can maybe have in 20 years when some of the bigger things have been dealt with first, kind of thing.
Eat your Beyond Meat and shut
this Donnie Dark keeps saying stuff. Do you want to
Beyond Meat?
Yeah, hop on, Donnie. Let's have a chat.
What's Beyond Me? Is that a substitute for human flesh?
That's a good one.
That would be awesome, actually. I like that. Yeah, Donnie, come on and have a chat. Let's I want to hear your stuff.
We haven't really had any serious people ever come on here. We've had a couple people who were kind of
Jason came up once. Chris knows Jason. Jason came to warn us of some deficiencies we may have.
Oh, really?
But he failed to include that his diet was also deficient in the same things.
Wasn't he saying too much copper? We're not getting enough zinc, but we can't just take a supplement for zinc because we're getting too much copper.
Well, and his amino or the ratios
copper poisoning by eating too many plants before.
The omega ratios he was talking about, like the omega ratios for meat aren't great, like and
there's way more pollutants.
Yeah, I can't even be bothered to have these conversations with people. I'm like, yeah, I get my blood tested like every few years, and it's I'm fine. I'm healthy. I'm got nothing. Like you just.
Well, that's just when you're the crab.
I don't have. Like
the crab is driving you crazy.
I just don't get it. It's a waste of time. It's just like
we should be hitting up Garland and those guys right now. Well, it's just funny because and then
please do. I will happily debate Garland. That will make my night.
Yeah. It's
my main
anyone in the chat was, Devin, hit up Garland for us.
I think there was only one time that I really was on for a substantial time with Garland, and he didn't seem to understand that
anything,
anything, but he just seemed unable to even process the idea that when I talk about an ethical framework, I'm not just talking about something that keeps me personally as pure as possible in my direct impact. So like a homesteading life where I somehow had a large plot of land and did all my like veganic gardening and whatever, and hunted animals or whatever, that could not fit my idea of a proper ethical framework because it needs to be scaled up to the entire world. I care about the state of the world. I kept bringing up that point. The point of ethics is having a better world for the sentient beings, and so it has to be something that is sustainable for the entire human population.
Yeah, because this is one thing I've noticed about Garland, which makes me laugh, is he keeps having stabs at veganism all the time, but yet he can't explain how his regenerative farming is even scalable and possible. He never actually makes a video saying that this is, because we know it's not. It will take like 3 planets. If he wanted to just have regenerative grass-fed cows, you'd need like 3 planets to even make that possible. Demolishing literally every single major city and forest in the world. It's just completely physically impossible. So
or hunting wild animals, in the US there's something like 1 deer for every 10 humans.
Yeah, everything every animal will go extinct in like 0 time. It's just like, it's ridiculous.
There's eating all this grass-fed meat in the wasteland.
Sorry, hold on one sec. Oh shit, what was I just had a thought and lost it. Sorry, what were you guys saying?
Oh, sorry, I was just looking to see if this Donnie guy is going to hop in. I think he's just more, keyboard warrior.
I'll be right back.
Just antagonizing.
Yeah, Donnie, hop on. I love having debates.
Be nice. I mean, like that's the whole thing is we have these, there's people that'll comment on Facebook and they never actually want to like step up to the plate and have a talk.
Everyone's so much nicer once you get them in this format. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
So Jason was so nice. Like, he's just like, who goes? Like, I had to explain to the panel. There was like 6 people on panel that night. I'd explained to him that he was a carnivore or he was like a keto guy. And they were like, oh, weird. Because like it was such a calm conversation.
No, to be fair, he is always nice, Jason.
Or you did. Did you see
fair,
when
even Garland's nice.
When he brought his child to come troll me, and his kid was like cussing and stuff, and he was drunk. Jason was wasted. He had his little kid with him, trolling me, like through funny. YouTube. They were making a video taunting me with his like 11-year-old kid.
To be fair, even Garland's fairly nice when you get to speak to him. He gets.
Oh no, I love that guy. I was worried when he disappeared. Like I hit up Jason, I hit him up. I was like, what happened? Like, did you die? Like I sent him an email and I was like, did you choke on a goat bone, old man Garland? And then he came back and his hair was all white. Like something happened to him. He was all twitchy now. Like he looks like he went through the ringer.
I don't know.
But he was going hard. And did you see Joey Schwartz is gone too?
Oh really?
Yeah, he's not doing videos anymore.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Gonna have to get a new cycle of
Mission
antagonists.
Huh?
We'll have to get a new cycle of antagonists.
Yeah, we need to see some new ones. Garland's he just keeps regurgitating the same things. It's like we debunked this literally on a video, and you'll just repeat the same thing, and we'll be like, why are you doing this? Like, it's just like it hasn't just sunk in that, you know, he needs to accept that some of his arguments are wrong, and then he can, you know, move on from them. It's just a bit weird. I don't fully get him.
Yeah, and a lot of people never restructure either. They just keep running with the same jokes.
Yeah.
It's always the same thing. It's always the same things that have been debunked multiple times, like in depth. And it's like, no, actually, here's where that happened. You show people, and it never like registers.
Yeah. Is this the debate you said you watched? That guy, Inspector Veg, he does music. His music's actually pretty good.
Watch how mad this lady gets. So I need to
send you Inspector Veg's music though. He is actually really good.
No, he's cool. He was the only cool one on the panel, really.
Oh, nice.
Like, he's a half-asser, but huh?
Is he not vegan?
He's vegetarian.
Okay, I always thought he was vegan.
And he was throwing a lot. This was a complete anti-vegan shit fest. Like, everyone was talking shit about vegans the whole time. Even the vegan, like even the vegan and the vegetarian. Like, it was like they were lucky I wasn't on this fucking panel. I would have fucking went. I would have went nuts. But so once I saw what was happening, so I just started trolling them, and this lady was just like the easiest one because she's just up there. Oh, I'm friends with Dr. Baker and blah 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 blah, and then she's like beat red, and it's like, okay, well, all those guys, all those carnivore, YouTubers are all on steroids. So I'm all carnivore lady looks like she's got steroid flesh, and then this happened.
Sounds like good fun. I'll have to properly watch it.
Yeah, she interrupted somebody while they were talking just to like make a point to Jeffrey.
And then she brought it up again. She was all, someone said that I have scurvy, because I was all, carnivore lady looks like she's got scurvy.
See, this Donny guy in the chat, this is someone who doesn't understand what veganism is. Because he's always he said here, I would if they would add me to the stream. Is Donny waiting? Is he backstage?
I've put the hyperlink up like 5 times.
Yeah,
he obviously doesn't know how to use this.
Okay, yeah, because you can tell, because he always says like, it's okay, eat what you want. It's not about eating what you want. It's about not eating certain individuals. It's not about
the line. The line is a really good line. Is vegans, we don't care what you eat. We only care who you eat.
Exactly.
As long as it's a what, we don't care.
Yeah.
That's not entirely true, because palm oil and that you can eat affect lots of foods, right?
Palm oil is actually I looked up the palm oil thing. Palm oil, boycotting palm oil is actually not the solution whatsoever. If you're worried about the palm oil, you should lower your oil intake across the board, because palm oil is the most sustainable. If palm oil is moved to something else, say like rapeseed or something else, actually the yield per acre is a lot smaller. It would take up more land. It would actually destroy more land. It would cause more damage in the long run. So the best thing to do is just cut your oil down across the board. There's even an orangutan charity that actually says on their website not to boycott palm oil, only choose zero deforestation or something else. I looked into that because I was quite interested in.
That's why we need more like. That's why we could use more like whole food, plant-based options that are more, like holistically minded, not just like loading oil into something to make like a fake cheese or something like that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm getting to that point now because I think every vegan goes through that stage of you just want to eat all the junk kind of thing. But like, I feel so much better when I'm eating like proper whole foods and everything. I really want to start like kind of making more of that stuff. I'm just not a very good cook. Luckily, my girlfriend's she's a lot better at this, so she's going to help. I'm going to try and get a bit more healthy.
I don't understand, this extreme swing between the two that a lot of people seem inclined to. Like I'm a home chef and I use meat and cheese substitutes, but I don't eat a lot of like double cheeseburgers with I use Beyond Meat in spaghetti sauce with lots of fresh vegetables, and I make tacos, and they might have some cheese substitute, but they also have a lot of Whole Foods.
Like jackfruit.
I don't swing wildly between some extremely.
It's just so convenient here. There's so much of it.
Get a rice cooker, man.
I got a rice cooker.
Rice nonstop rice. You can eat as much rice as you want. Rice and just tons of sauces.
Yeah, we've been buying loads of tofu.
Save a lot of money too. Yeah.
Yeah, we found a really good place to get tofu, like super cheap. So yeah,
I'll do like
scrambles and stuff.
Sorry. But I'll do like really big salads. Like when I first started going vegan, I did these huge salads loaded up with like grains, as many like, whole grains like brown rice or different healthier alternative kind of grains, loaded up with like beans or even different healthier meat alternatives. Like when I found soy curls, that was a game changer.
Oh yeah.
But I home cook and just add like as much sauce and seasonings that's gonna make it taste good.
Sauce is life.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I used to a little before I started going vegan, I was like trying to load up on protein. I was doing the whole like meathead kind of thing where, I'd make like like quesadillas and different things that were loaded, but I would just load it up with like sour cream and hot sauce on the top of it and just eat it kind of like a little like protein pizza, I guess. But like now I started doing that with like salads and stuff, and it's like you can load in so many things and you don't even think about it, just healthy foods.
The key to vegan cooking is getting weird too. Like you don't have to do everything the way everyone's done in the past. Like we'll eat like 4 pounds of broccoli with like, like peanut sauce on it, or like, it's like some weird stuff and it's bomb, like you don't have to like when we're raised, they teach us to just like cook in such this uniform way and don't mix certain tastes and stuff. And like, like I put like jelly, like strawberry jelly on an onion bagel. That shit's dope. Like it's not supposed to work, but it does.
Yeah.
I am one of these not mixing sweet and savory.
I love that shit.
Yeah. Pineapple on pizza is horrific.
I love
like nasi goreng rice that has little raisins in it. It's like a savory fried rice, and then there's raisins.
Could see that.
No way.
Doesn't sound too bad. I could go for that. This is making me hungry. No.
I know.
It's like 1 a.m. so I don't want to. Yeah, I can't really start eating now.
Telling you, if you start with like staple foods, just like rice and beans, just as like your baseline, and you just add whatever in extra, you're gonna have some pretty good success just experimenting, try some things out.
Dude, white sweet potatoes, the white ones, not the orange ones or the purple. The purple, I mean, those are all good, but the white ones are so good. They taste like tamales almost. Like you can put salsa on them, and that like just salsa on baked white sweet potato. It's unbelievably good. Like we'll eat like pounds of them, like we eat big meals, like not like really mixed, but like more like one thing, like a shitload of broccoli or like a shitload of broccoli with Brussels sprouts, like a big pile. It's fucking bomb. Like that's what's funny. Like when the meatards, they're like, oh, you aren't enjoying your food as much as I am. And I'm like, no, I don't think so, man. I really enjoy my food, and my food is harder to come by. So, I value my food more than you do. You can just fucking eat anything, like
that is true.
Yeah. When I was a kid, like I remember I used to love cooking way more when I was a kid. 'Cause it's like, it's more when you're vegan, it's like you're more about the food because it's scarce, like it's not as easy. And then when you cook for yourself, you're saving money, you're likely cooking healthier, and it's way more of a food type of like obviously everyone has to eat food, but when you're vegan, your life is more about food. Like it is a lot.
Yeah, it makes it a little more exciting, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's way more exciting. Like you find a place with vegan, you're like, like, like you see everyone, oh, my ribs, but it's like, they're not as excited as I am when I get a hold of something I like, like it's always the funny argument.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, for omnivores, it's like Christmas every day. You know, like it's like a holiday of eating. Like anytime you want, you can buy whatever you want because that's the default option everywhere you go. So like for us, you find a good, vegan junk food, and especially if it's on the healthier side, so you can kind of like indulge a little more. That's a pretty cool treat.
The whole period of time I wasn't vegan in between the 2 times I've been vegan. I absolutely had vegan guilt. I felt totally gluttonous. I felt like I totally felt like what I was doing wrong, but what I was doing was wrong the whole time. Like, because it's ridiculous. Like you're just like, oh, blah, like you're just this, like, like you're just this meat eating machine, and then you're like, I have to have meat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like that, if you're doing that, you're eating way too much meat. Like, go look at the China study. Like, sure, we talked about that last time. Sure, you can probably survive eating some animal products, but like if you're eating it 3 times a meal, or 3 times a day, meat and dairy, it's just too much.
I went to the typical Carnist Thanksgiving this year back home, and I did. Like I didn't make a bunch of vegan versions. I had like the vegan stuffing, and then I just ate like the vegetable sides, and I don't even remember what I ate, but I just ate like a regular small amount of food that you'd eat on a typical day, and it really was bizarre. It really stood out how bizarre this idea of gorging yourself until your brain doesn't work anymore, and thinking that's an amazing cultural tradition. I don't want a vegan version of that. I guess I can understand why some people would really want to, but I can understand it slightly, but no, it's not for me. I don't need to recreate that.
I like this. I like this new word from Donnie. Yeah, VTARD.
VTARD. I feel like I know who this is, but I just don't know who this is.
Yeah, well, he's meant to be coming on, but he's not. I don't know what's going on.
Get up here, Donnie Dark.
Kind of went quiet when we started
right there.
We started talking about the link, and he got a little quiet for a bit there.
Yeah, hop in. We're all friendly. It's all good.
Makes it more weird when we have to comment on the chat while we're trying to have a live chat.
Was it? I'm in Hollywood Undead, apparently.
Oh no, yeah, it's just
some food over.
Kid. Whew. So when's the movie coming out?
Why is Garland not streaming so we can?
Yeah, they both. Well, Jason. Once I started doing the show, Jason started doing a podcast at the same time, just so he wouldn't have to come. He'd have an excuse not to come on, I think.
Oh, really?
Because we wanted him to come back at the second one because we looked at the things he said and there was a bunch of discrepancies. So we're like, all right, let's go get our information. Let's go get our studies. And I hit him up and I was like, come back. And he's like, oh, I got a podcast. And then he was supposed to, I don't know. I another guy that's been on the panel. He used to be Christian and allegedly there's a bunch of stuff in the Bible about vegan people and stuff. I had no idea, but I arranged a debate between these two Christian guys talking about the Bible and religion, and is the Bible against veganism? And I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't know if it was going to be like 2 minutes or months, but the conversation that was had was super surprising because I learned all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I've been researching this loads recently, actually. I've got a Jehovah's Witness.
We've been doing a lot of it, or we're trying to do more of it on here.
Yeah, there's a Jehovah's Witness that comes around to my house almost every week, and I've been debating him about this stuff for months. So I've done tons of research on this. There's even a book called "Why Every Christian Should Be Vegan." There's actually a book you can get. I'll send you the PDF.
Wow!
If you want to check it out.
Well, you should tell them to watch. You should tell them to watch Christspiracy too. Like that.
Oh yeah. Christspiracy is coming out as well. So yeah, so there's loads of It's actually really, really interesting. I'm a bit mixed though from reading it because there are definitely some stuff in there that does indicate that God does not like what we do to animals at all. But there is also some stuff that kind of contradicts that. So it's a bit kind of I don't know. I'm looking forward to Christspiracy to see if they can kind of like clarify.
We should watch it on here. That'd be fun.
Yeah, we could do it.
Cool.
Yeah, do like a watch party when it comes out. Yeah, I'd be totally down for that.
But yeah, so that happened, and it was pretty surprising how, because I wasn't expecting anything direct. I was expecting, oh, maybe this guy, might have been talking about this, but it was like, no, there were like vegan, large groups of vegan people, and it was talked about quite a bit. But then, yeah, it was like some of the stuff was contradicting, where they're like, oh, don't argue amongst each other about what you eat. It's like, ooh, where'd that come from? That's weird. That's something that I hear a lot today.
Yeah, I know the line. It's in I think it's in Isaiah, that, and yeah, it also says in there that if what you're eating causes your brother to fall, basically saying if whatever you're eating causes someone else to stumble or something, then you shouldn't do it.
Kinda.
Yeah, so it's almost like, if your diet is offending someone, then you shouldn't do it as well. Oh, he's got the food.
Ooh, oh, you got food? What is that? Broccoli tacos?
Just some oven tostadas, black beans, and very simple. Black beans with spices, nooch, and fresh cilantro.
Nooch is the best. Nooch is life.
Yeah, nooch is good shit. Yeah, I'll have to send you that book. It's definitely a good read if you want to learn a bit more about the religious argument and stuff. Because I've been debating him on loads of stuff. Just kind of, it's taking me down that kind of a whole atheist argument thing as well. I've been looking up about Noah's Ark and all this kind of stuff, and it's funny because I feel quite bad for the guy, because next time I see him, I need to tell him that I started to read the Bible and now I believe it even less than I did before. Because literally, when you start reading it, it just ends up getting worse than you think it is. It's just like, oh my god, what is this? This is a mess.
That's hysterical.
Yeah. Well, and there's also people who, they'll say that the Bible has a lot of like allegories, things that aren't supposed to be taken literally, and then that's where it starts to get really confusing, because people will be like, well, what about when Jesus supposedly fed 5,000 people fish, and like all these other kinds of things, they talk about fish and all this stuff, and it's like, well, that might be some kind of weird symbolic thing, like, it's a really deep conversation to get into.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, which is that the main argument is, if the Bible was the word of this hugely intelligent God in the sky, he would provide a book that made sense, that didn't mean that everyone else has their own interpretation. Why would you do that? Like, it's ridiculous. You wouldn't just give everyone a book and everyone interprets it differently. That'd be the most, unless he's the biggest troll ever. Because I'm going to put this book down, no one understands it, and they can argue about it for the rest of our lives.
Yeah. Well,
maybe that's the case, but
well, you run into the issue of all the different translations and everything too. Like,
yeah.
I'm not super well versed, but I mean, it's it's gone from like being the Dead Sea Scrolls, like it's gone up to like Latin and Greek, and it's just been now we have English, which is one of the most sophisticated but also easily misunderstood languages around. So it gets pretty complicated.
Yeah, exactly. I brought that up to him. I was like, how can you believe it word for word when you know it's been translated? I said, you can't. I don't know. Jehovah's Witness is a bit of a strange one, though. I've been looking them up. Apparently, if you kind of leave Jehovah's Witness, you're basically exiled. All your family disown you and stuff, which is pretty scary. I feel kind of bad for the guy. Like, I don't want him, because I'm always getting him to think about all this stuff, and ultimately, if I get him to think too much, he might lose his whole family, which is kind of scary. So, and I think he's actually quite a nice guy. So I don't really want to. In a way, I want him to kind of wake up and know that a lot of what he believes is completely wrong. But also, I don't want him to lose his, because I've met his parents and everything. They've all come around. They're all a part of it. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting one, Jehovah's Witness.
I just emailed Garland.
Did you?
Yeah.
Let's see what he says. Yeah, I really want to come on. I want him to educate me on crop deaths.
Yeah, well, that's so we did the crop deaths one. What's the next one we need to do? What was it? I forgot.
Well, I mean, he's still he keeps bringing up all this new stuff. I've got loads of new research. He's
do,
talking about.
Do you know how many inside jokes there are about Garland these days? I see them in the comments, new ones all the time. It's absolutely funny. They're like the soy, the biodiesel ones, like the drinking biodiesel. There's so many. I never got a shirt from Nutrivore. I keep forgetting I need to order one of those while he still got them. You need one too.
What are they?
He made a Buy the Bean t-shirt.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I heard Joe Rogan was talking about Nutrivore.
Yeah, he was.
What? You gotta tell me what happened.
I probably can't explain that well, but basically Nutrivore's got some quite out there
he's an odd
positions. And basically without kind of him explaining them really in depth, then people kind of like Joe Rogan kind of looked at it and was just like,
bad read.
What
they do a bad read on it, and they're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What did he say?
It was basically, he's saying how he wants to basically destroy all nature.
Basically, yeah. No, that's this group that me and Jeremy are in. There's a bunch of these guys. I debated a guy. I'll send you the link. I debated a dude on this subject. So they want to, this kid. So it started off with this kid saying, it started. If a mouse comes in your house, what do you do? As a vegan, what do you do? And all of us were like, well, that's an invasion of your privacy and your property, and that mouse could be bringing sickness, all kinds of stuff. You're okay to evict it. Don't kill it, get rid of it. But these people, they're like, no, you're better off killing that mouse on the spot.
I saw this debate.
And sending that cat away. The mouse. Yeah. And so that's connected with this whole, oh no, we need to take care of all the animals, separate them. What's his name? Richard.
Vegan Gains.
He's kind of on this one too, where he's like, we should take the mean animals, segregate them, but then take care of the rest and just leave nature uninhabited or something. But like, I debated him with we discussed it for like an hour, and I kept coming up with I was like, dude, what's gonna happen with this? Are you kidding? Like, you're gonna take all the bees and isolate the bees from the flowers because they might even get killed along the way? It's just super crazy.
I guess this is one of those debates.
Want hot takes. They want to say something and get a lot of attention. Yeah. And that's just I don't.
This is one of those debates that we were talking about earlier on, where it's kind of you're right on the edges of veganism. It's not a conversation that we need to be having right now. No one's going out into the forest and trying to stop tigers. It's just not happening.
It's the Carnist argument also. Oh, we're taking care of these cows until we kill and eat them. It's the same argument, but it's vegans giving it. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
There are, I got to just interject, there are some real world instances that touch on caring about wild animal suffering. Which,
there totally is.
I mean, the main one is reintroduction of extinct predators into ecosystems. Where you have this argument about that seems to value the ecosystem as a whole, and people are reintroducing wolves into national parks, and then there is this counter argument that's not actually promoted by very many people, that the suffering of the deer or whatever animals that are killed by these wolves that you reintroduce matter as individuals. So I do think there's a point for me to be one of the few people who's pointing that out.
Oh no, the thing is, there are stuff like that which is, we can have those conversations. When it comes to, are we going to go around and kill all the lions to stop the gazelles? No one's even thinking about doing that.
Yeah, nobody is doing that, but the environmentalists very much are, tend to be in favor of.
I would kind of agree on that point.
Ecosystems by introducing predators.
Yeah, I would agree. If we can find a way to not introduce predators, then we should do that, because what's the point in killing those animals if they don't need to be done? It doesn't need to be done. So yeah, I mean, stuff like that we could, like, where they introduced them back into like Yellowstone, didn't they, and stuff like that. If there's those situations, we can definitely discuss them. But
wasn't there a guy who spoke about that at David Ram's event?
Well, the Yellowstone thing.
Yeah, contrarian. I do in a sense, but it doesn't sound like. Sorry, I do agree. I am an ethical consequentialist through and through. So the idea of saying, if we could make the world a better place for all of the sentient beings in it, then we still shouldn't do it because of some rule restricting our behavior. Is absurd. Morality is about consequences, and that includes the wild animals. But and I don't think Jeffrey seems that far off, because all of his what he's been saying here against that has to do with consequences, like real world spillover effects of trying to kill all the lions to save the gazelles. So
we definitely screwed up there.
It is a stupid idea to do in terms of
existing
consequences.
Sure. Yeah.
I just don't. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, abstractly as a thought experiment, if we could vastly reduce suffering by ending natural predation, then that would be a good thing to do, basically by definition.
The thing is, you'd also have to agree that we would also have to kill all human meat eaters.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's the problem with
in a genocide territory.
The problem with using violence, even deadly violence, in an activism movement is the spillover negative consequences. Your movement, it causes your movement to fail, to put it mildly. But it's not like there's some principled reason why killing someone who is otherwise going to kill thousands is worse than leaving them alive and letting them kill thousands. It's the actual, where the rubber meets the road. It's the actual effects of pursuing a violent path that makes it wrong.
It's just, I guess it's just one of those conversations, like I was saying about it. It seems like a conversation that we don't need to have right now, except for in those incidents, as you said, about like reintroductions and stuff, because it's just not going to happen. It's a thought experiment. It's an interesting conversation, but no one's going to go around shooting meat eaters or shooting predators at this stage.
Nobody's going to go around shooting meat eaters in the street, but as the movement grows, you have to start thinking about criminal law, because that is what happens, right? You start off with homosexuality illegal, and you're arguing for people to be morally accepting, and then eliminate the criminal penalties. But then you eventually reach, a point where acceptance of that justice movement is so widespread that now it becomes punishable to aggress against members of these groups. So veganism growing as it seems to be, having the momentum that it has, ultimately is going to end up where dogfighting is, where there are prison sentences in our countries if you run a dogfighting ring. So it's, I mean, at the present moment, 2024, it's not a big issue, but it's also not completely abstract philosophical thought experiments. We could be reaching the point pretty soon in certain jurisdictions where, there are some people who are, maybe not all animal exploitation, but some very common forms of animal exploitation for food and clothing, where there's a potential to criminalize it.
Well, we already have that in some respects, just not with farm animals. If we look at dogs and cats, and that's already in place, isn't it? So it's just expanding those laws to the other animals, I guess.
So talking about how far you're going to take a rule against any form of violence is important, because criminal law is violence. It is ultimately people with guns coming to handcuff you and lock you in a cage.
I guess with this conversation, with humans, for example, we can give humans the option to be like, hey, you shouldn't be doing this, do this instead, and be vegan, basically. With animals, we would have to they'd have to be judged slightly differently due to the fact that they are more like children. We can't communicate with them, this is wrong, so we'd need to work out in a legal sense, like, how would that work for an animal? They don't deserve the death sentence for something that they're not knowledged in that there's even an alternative to, because they don't have that ability. So it'll be like, should we kill them, or should we just do something else to like for example, it could be hypothetical, I don't know if this would work, but if you went into the jungle, for example, when you dropped loads of meat substitutes everywhere, so all the lions would eat that instead of hunting. That seems like a better solution than.
Well, plus I don't trust anyone to do any of that. I wouldn't trust the person in control of it. I wouldn't trust. There wouldn't be a unanimous agreement on how to deal with taking care of Mother Nature and taking it. It's like this big statist idea that the government should be able to handle that, no problem, and like that's how it would happen. A centralized government would take control of that. And what do they do correctly?
I mean, that's a whole other subject in itself, isn't it? It's like in a perfect world, we could operate something that could do these, but we don't live in that world, unfortunately. Even if we all became vegan, it's still
I think
the same shit.
One good analogy is how we spay and neuter dogs and cats. The widespread support for that. Obviously they can't verbally consent, and they, it's premised on the idea that they're unable to control their own behavior, right? Their own reproductive urges. And we do it because we have a very clear, rationally grounded belief that it promotes the well-being of future dogs and cats much more than
you're violating the rights of the animal to accommodate them in your scenario where you use them for comfort or whatever. It's
ultimately
it's still very selfish of the human. It's not
ultimately you would just abolish pet ownership completely, so that wouldn't even ever be an issue. That's what it should be. We shouldn't be owning animals, but
you wouldn't support sterilizing feral cat populations, even if humans weren't having them as pets for personal pleasure.
I mean,
because Mother Nature would keep their numbers in balance. Once we involve ourselves, it's just like free market. Once government involves themselves in the free market, shit gets
ways, right? In much more harmful ways from the perspective of the animals. That's what nature.
Not necessarily, but if that's their natural state this realm that we're in.
So people who are quote unquote vegan for nature should stop saying that they're vegan for animals, because I'm vegan for the animals, not for abstract concepts like nature.
Well, what would be the point of? Well, I mean, the same argument. Just get rid of all the animals. Stop letting animals procreate and let them all just die naturally, so we don't have animals living in. I guess that's the whole anti-natalist argument, right?
I mean, I would say if you could show for sure that, because take feral cats for example. So most feral cats cats are an invasive species. They shouldn't even be here in the first place. And if they're affecting wildlife, for example, like killing birds and all that kind of stuff, I don't see an issue in spaying and neutering them to stop the death of future other animals when they still exist where they should be. If they're eliminated from a space where they should never have been in the first place because humans put them there, then I can't see an issue in them not being there, which I think should apply to all invasive species. Like people like, for example, Garland always says about the hogs and getting shot for crops. I would just say, well, let's sterilize them all. Let's sterilize all of them. Let them live out their lives. They'll die out. Then they won't be there anymore. It won't be a problem. They still exist where they should be. It doesn't make any difference to those hogs. They're still going to enjoy their life. They're still going to carry on and live to a big age. So I think and the thing is, I would even go as far as to say I'm consistent in that. Is I would say that should be done to humans as well in certain situations. If there was a situation where humans were doing something where the breeding of them was affecting everything on such a huge scale, then I would say no more babies, people. Stop having babies.
Is it not happening on a crazy scale right now?
The ethical consequentialists, we get this all the time. People think it's a gotcha to say, hey, but you wouldn't say that about humans, would you? And then I get to say, yes, I would.
Yeah, no, I totally would. I can't see why that shouldn't. I can't see why that shouldn't apply to us. If people want to talk about invasive species, we are the most damaging species on the planet. Every single thing, the water, the air, the animals, everything would benefit from our extinction. Now, I'm not saying that I want the extinction of humans. I think humans can be very cool in the right situations. I'm not one of those people. But it seems a bit hypocritical to say, oh, we can do that to animals. But if there's considering humans aren't that great, we can't do it to them. I think there should be, it's got to be both, or none.
You guys should check out my conversation with Jerome Eubanks on his channel about A Christmas Carol.
Okay.
I'm obsessed with A Christmas Carol.
Really promoting that video,
like hundreds of versions, but there's some interesting. I get into really interesting things with Jerome, but near the end, I probably had a few drinks, but I was saying, when people ask vegans. Surely you don't think that a single chicken's life is equal in value to a single human's life. I went off in that chat saying that just in terms of the patient's own experiences, their own capacity for happiness and suffering, it does seem like a single human is more valuable than a single chicken. And vegans we're all very well acquainted with how to respond to this sort of argument, right? But what I started saying in that chat is the range of potential benefit or harm that a single chicken could possibly bring to the world is within this narrow range like this. And because of our capacity as humans, we have this much greater range of total effect that we can have. And most of us are on the negative side.
Yeah.
And so I said, if you're using your increased capacity as a human to cause much more harm than benefit, then your life is on net worth much less than any chicken.
Well, I always like to say to people when they say that, or the human or a chicken, I was like, it depends who the human is. If you're saying Hitler and a chicken, I'm sorry, I'm choosing the chicken. I don't give a shit. They can do what. So, I don't think
people aren't as far down as Hitler, but most people are clearly below chickens in their net effect on the rest of the world.
Yeah, I mean, humans as a default, our life as a whole is going to cause way more damage than a chicken ever will. Yeah, because it's a chicken. What's it going to do? Peck a couple of things on the floor, have a little fly.
And so that means if you want to get yourself on the positive side, you can't just abstain. That's not good enough. Just existing and abstaining from the harms is not going to put you on the black side of that ledger. Your existence
you
already.
Everyone needs to be proactive in creating more positive change.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Everybody needs
I would agree with that.
Devote their ability to thinking about how in their own particular circumstances they can address the greatest negatives in the world and turn them into positives.
Yeah. Well, there was a really good analogy that Earthling Ed used, which I thought was good. He was saying about there's a situation where there's someone beating a dog, and you've got a few options. You can either just completely ignore the guy beating the dog, which is basically what everyone's doing now, just being a general part of the population and ignoring the problem. You can be a vegan, and you can be against what's going on. Or you can be an activist and you can actively stop him beating the dog. And that should be the moral baseline, not just being a vegan. Because we shouldn't just, not partake in violence. We should actively try and stop that violence, because that should be the moral thing to do. So yeah, kind of going on with what you're saying, yeah, we should go beyond just not partaking in unethical things and actually try and fix it to, get on that positive scale.
Yeah, I wanted to mention too, it's like as far as like animal rights goes, since there's not really much of a baseline for animal rights in this country, it's like, I know in the UK and other parts of the world, you can actually film what goes on inside of slaughterhouses and whatnot, but like in the US, we have really, really bad ag
tag. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, so it's like, what for all these different civil rights movements that have happened over the centuries, it's like, we don't have that same kind of exposure because it's actually been limited so much. All this stuff is hidden behind a veil that nobody can penetrate, or else you could actually go to jail just for violating that law.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. There's been a few big cases. Actually, there was a case today. There's the Excelsior 4, which I think I can't remember. I think they exposed a pig farm. This was in Canada though, but I think they've got ag as well. And they've just been found guilty. And there's also Wayne from Direct Action Everywhere, based in Berkeley. He just got a prison sentence for basically exposing a farm and rescuing them. It's absolutely crazy. I think Australia's got a similar thing, or they're pushing to put one through anyway. We're quite lucky in the UK. Even our trespass laws are pretty good. I've been into factory farms and slaughterhouses and stuff myself. If we go on and we get caught, it's just a civil offence, which I guess is like a misdemeanor to you guys. It's not really a big thing. It's only if we refuse to leave that it becomes a criminal case. So we're quite lucky in that we can go into these places and get away with it. Obviously, it's not without its risks, obviously, but we are quite lucky that we can do that currently. But yeah, for you guys, it's ridiculous that you can't expose cruelty without getting a criminal sentence.
Yeah, that might be why like Veganuary is so much more successful in the UK. Why the message is so much more widespread, because like up over there, you guys are able to like actually expose what's going on like locally. But like here, we don't have much footage that comes from America that we could be like, look, this is happening like locally. This is like our state. It's
part of what was going on with part of what was going on with Wayne and DXE here is that they were actually documenting violations of current California law.
Yeah.
So California has these, advanced or whatever progressive kind of welfare regulations compared to the rest of the country, and these these animal producers are just flagrantly violating the law, and so they're not just documenting horrific ethical abuses that are currently government sanctioned, but they're documenting legal violations, and then no charges are being brought against them.
Yeah, because what I was going to say is one of the actions that they got charged for, I was involved in. I was actually a part of it, which was the Petaluma organic egg farm. And yeah, what they were basically doing is there was a California law that essentially says that if there's an animal that's not being provided food, water, or anything like that, then you're allowed to remove that animal. And it's mainly in place for kind of people who leave dogs in their cars and stuff like that. But it's not specific to those animals. So I remember when we walked onto the farm, Wayne had these legal papers, and the farmer came up, and Wayne was like, "No, we're coming on. This is the law that we're legally allowed to come onto your property. We know that these animals aren't being cared for, and we can therefore remove them." But obviously, it's not being upheld. Hence why he's getting charged. and stuff, which is insane. But I think it's a really good way they're doing that, because they are, like I said, they're finding these laws which should be protecting these animals and really stress testing them in a court of law, because they've only got to get it through once. They've only got to get it accepted by by a judge once, that yes, actually this law is fine, and that changes the whole system. But unfortunately, it's just everyone's just getting prison sentences right now, which isn't helping. So, but
maybe we need more. Maybe we need more vegans go to the Supreme Court, like, raising some constitutional issues.
Yeah, really do. We need a lot more. Vegans kind of getting into the legal system in every way possible, to really push these things through, because that is what's really stopping everything at the moment. But we need people to be in there, appealing these ad gag laws and stuff, and showing how they're completely, just ridiculous. I mean, in Australia they're doing really well. They've got an animal justice party over there, which is amazing. They've got one of their people has a seat over there, and she's doing some really good work. Australia are doing really well though. Have you guys? I guess you guys have all seen Dominion.
They got a lot cooler animals than we have.
But Dominion was obviously the biggest expose of a country I've ever seen, and they're currently
in direct contact with that many animals. You can't not like all those birds.
They're currently trying to shut down. I think they're expose and shut down 13 slaughterhouses in the next few years. That's their mission.
In Australia,
releasing back-to-back slaughterhouse exposés at the moment, like all the time. They just released one in Tasmania. They released a couple of pig gas chamber ones recently. They're getting in, setting up cameras, doing everything. They're Aussie Farms, the group that do it, are incredible.
Australia is kind of a tough one too, because I know they have they have a very meat, agriculture centered kind of culture. So that would probably make a pretty big, it'd probably be a pretty big deal for vegan activism. Yeah.
The whole Dominion thing, when they released that, it was that kind of got publicity all across the country, because they basically exposed every single farm they could do, and then they made a website which pinpointed exactly where those farms were and showed the footage from those farms, so you could literally go on and look at each individual farm and what was filmed there. Then they were encouraging other people to go out and document the other farms. It's just absolutely crazy the stuff they're doing, especially because it's so much more of a risk than the UK. People have guns and stuff, on their farms and stuff. We don't really. You might get beaten up or something, but chances of us getting shot are pretty slim to none, really. Although someone did get, I think, hit with a crowbar once or something. That's not good, but yeah, Australia are definitely Australia. I'd say Aussie Farms and DXE, I say, are two of the big organisations that are really pushing things forward in where we need to take things, I think. I'm missing lots of comments. Have we got any? What good comments have we got here? Oh, the armed vegan women to protect endangered animals. Yeah, they're badass. They're all vegan as well. Yeah, they're really cool. Although Sea Shepherd aren't as good anymore. I don't know if everyone's seen the drama with Sea Shepherd. They basically
what happened?
They basically chucked out Paul Watson, and then they're getting him. They're refusing him any use of any Sea Shepherd stuff whatsoever. The logo, even though he designed it and everything. He started his own organization now, Captain Paul Watson organization, and most people have ditched Sea Shepherd because Sea Shepherd want to start working with the fisheries and stuff. They kind of want to, and they're kind of trying, from what I can gather, they're trying to steer away from that more direct action thing, which Paul Watson's famous for, ramming boats and all that kind of stuff. And Paul Watson's like, nah, fuck that. Like, we're not stopping. I don't give a shit. Like, we're carrying on. So
he's still alive? That's the son, right? The son of the original guy.
No, this is the original guy. Yeah, Paul Watson.
The original guy, wow.
The original guy who helped form Greenpeace.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he wasn't that old when he started it. He's one of these guys that looked 60 when he was 30.
Yeah,
we just watched him.
He was actually fairly young when he started Sea Shepherd.
Yeah,
he worked with whales, and he could telepathically talk to whales.
I mean, that would be awesome if you could.
Yeah, we just watched some story about him, and it was he started Greenpeace because he was working with whales, and he talked to the whales, and the whales told him to go save them, he did some experiment with them where they were like, they're all, oh, go to this beach and everyone will be there. And he went to the beach and all these whales showed up. So he like,
what documentary was this?
It was like a snippet of someone talking about him.
I mean, I interviewed him for my film, and he definitely didn't mention anything about telepathy.
Really? I wonder if it's the same guy.
But like
Greenpeace guy.
Sea Shepherd and Greenpeace are the same.
It's the same guy. Yeah.
Well, technically, Sea Shepherd are Greenpeace, because what happened is they formed Greenpeace and they started doing all this stuff with the whales and stuff, and then all these other people kind of took over, and they ended up like apologizing to the people that were doing the seal hunting and stuff, saying that we shouldn't have done it because you need it for your livelihood and stuff. And Paul Watson and everyone was like, no, fuck this. So all the major people that formed Greenpeace basically left and joined Sea Shepherd with Paul Watson. So Sea Shepherd, when it first started, was essentially the core Greenpeace group.
But it's just like commercialized and shit now. Sea Shepherd is just like a TV show. Like, clearly it's going to get corrupted, and they're going to start, you're going to start having these people that aren't vegan involved. I was telling them about
I mean, that's why he started his own organization now, the Captain Paul Watson one. But he's just carrying on doing exactly the same as he's ever done. That guy's badass. He really is. There's actually a film about him. I think it's called Watson. I think you should watch that. It's really interesting, like about his life and everything. He's like banned from like so many countries and stuff. It's crazy.
Dope.
Yeah, he's a really, really cool guy. Have you banned Donnie Darko? I've seen he was banned. What was he saying?
Yeah, he started being mean.
Oh,
he wasn't going to come up anyway.
Yeah, fair enough.
He would have. Garland and Jason are all hiding. They're like, oh boy.
The crabs.
So I think it was the regenerative farming one. I think me and you need to go after that one next.
I mean, I just want to talk to you about the whole thing. I've got so many notes.
You've got so many notes.
I've watched through all of his videos, and I make notes about every single thing he says, and then I go in and find all the information about it and stuff.
Yeah. Chris has his PowerPoints on everything. He's still using that chart, the soybean, the chart that we debunked. He's still using that thing.
Yeah, I know. The thing is, he said that we admitted to it. I was like, no, it was 3 a.m. in the morning, and I said I'd get back to you on it because I was really tired.
No.
And we literally just looked at him and go, oh, you're only classing calories from soy and not every other food on the planet. Like, your chart doesn't make any sense. We're not just going to live off of soy and nothing else.
He's all, but soy is the most nutritious, blah, blah, blah. We're like, shut up, dude.
Yeah.
God.
Garland will also, like a lot of these guys, they'll never directly answer.
No.
What
anything.
Will you? Okay, so you're talking about regenerative farming involving like grazing mammals, but will you condemn all of the people in society who are going to KFC and paying for the absolutely most horrific treatment of these chickens in warehouses that you're not even trying to excuse? So will you focus at least as much of your energy on condemning those people and those practices as you do arguing against vegans?
Yes to that.
He never will, because
yes, I do. I'm against factory farming.
I don't think Garland actually gives a shit about animals. I think all he cares about is trying to get a gotcha on vegans. I honestly do. Like, otherwise he would speak up about that stuff. He would say this is really bad. We should only be regenerative farming. Here's factory farm footage. You don't want to get factory farm stuff. Only this. He never does any of that. He doesn't care about animals. He just claims to try and make out like, oh, I care about the animals getting killed by crop deaths. Then why do you still eat plants as well as meat then, Garland? How does that make sense? So it's just, I don't know. He's a funny one. I'm so glad we got that concession out of him, though. It took a while to get it out of him, but it was only because I had all the statistics right there in front of him.
I cannot believe that he did that.
That was exhausting, though.
It was hilarious, though.
You guys had to put in work for that one.
Yeah, but
so
we got it.
Funny.
He can never get around that now. He's just there. It's just he can't get around it.
Carson,
he's just ignoring
like
it.
ask Garland.
Is that the co-product thing? Oh god, I wish I'd uploaded that.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the video I made and I sent to you, but I never uploaded it. The one where I edited him. It's going like, I was the first person to say it was a co-product, and then it would go to him going byproduct, co-product. That video
He
was
spent
awesome.
a long time on that video.
Yeah.
She can't even hear, like when it comes on my YouTube, she's all well,
he contradicted himself so many times. There were just so many, I just couldn't leave him out.
There were a lot of versions of the video too. They were like we changed it a couple times because there was just so much
I had to cut
shit.
it. Yeah, he just went back.
And it was still 20 something minutes, you know. That video is hilarious though. Some of the comments are funny. You just edited it to make him look stupid. No.
He did a good job by himself.
Yeah, we didn't need to edit it. We could have left the whole thing, but it'd be quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like 10 hours of footage. Like
it was just funny when he was on that stream going like, I was the first person to say it was a co-product. We didn't even know what it was. We didn't even know what co-product and the difference was. We literally have video footage of you Googling the difference between byproduct and co-product.
And then by the time he was in front of us, he still couldn't explain the difference. And it's like, so how could you feel so strong about something that you don't know? Like, where is that fucker?
He does make me laugh. I've got like a love-hate thing with him. Like, you know, like he does amuse me.
Yeah, no, I was worried about him when he disappeared. Like he was gone.
We'll get him into our side at some point. I think.
Man,
that's mission. Get Garland to be vegan.
The best piece of outside of the compilation video, the best other piece of garden video that I like the most is when I called him out on not being a farmer, and he immediately stopped talking, and then disappeared into the background and never said anything about it. Like he had no one ever called him out to his face on not being a farmer. Because that's all he talks about. But it's like, where's the footage of you being a farmer? Where's a picture of you on your farm? You don't have shit. And then Jason, his friend, admitted it while he was in front of me. And I was like, so you're not even a farmer. You don't have cows. You let people say you have cows all day, but you don't correct them. You know,
he's got goats, isn't he? Like, he's got some goats. I think that's it, isn't it?
He's got a couple goats in his yard.
Now he says that.
Now he says that.
He corrected himself.
After I called him out, then any other time it came up, he's I'm a goat farmer, you know, and it's like that's the first time you've ever said that.
He's got a video on, like the first video on his channel is this.
It's not his farm, dude. It's some other person's farm. It's not his place. He paid one of his carnivore buddies, you know, or like, you know, someone let him use. It's like a drone shot of him driving with some child in the back of the truck. Like it's so fucking staged. It's not a real video.
Is that even him in it? He's not even in the video, is he? I can't remember.
I think he gets out of the truck and like walks up into the field. Like it's some dumb shit. Dude. But he like, you just see on his face when I'm all, dude, you don't even have a farm. You're not even a farmer. Like he was just all, and then Jason started talking because he got nervous because he gave it away. And then Garland his video goes blank after like 10 minutes of standing there, like not knowing what to do. And then when I went on there and read the front page of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation about how they own billions of heads of cattle all over the world, after I made him say that he's all Bill Gates doesn't own. I forced him to say Bill Gates doesn't have any farms, and then I read him the thing, and they were just like, those dudes are so like, you can't go up there and show us all your cards. They make so many videos that we knew what he was going to say, so we were able to prepare to destroy everything he had. When I'm doing a debate with someone, I go and take my videos down off my YouTube because I don't want them to hear my shit. You know, like
I don't care if they hear my shit. I only put up shit that's true anyway. I want to hear their excuses.
Yeah,
I think the extreme weirdness of Garland is masking the broader problem that we come across all the time, not just with anti-vegans, but just with members of the public. And even in the vegan community, people discussing different issues, and that's this idea that thinking of thinking of one example, one particular type of situation that's not so bad, somehow gives you license to continue doing the things that are obviously extremely horrible. That's not how a rational, responsible person conducts their life. It's a game where if you can like break the perfection of the moral argument in any way, then that somehow licenses just doing whatever maximum immorality you feel like.
Well, that's the whole the metard argument of, oh, you're killing plants with the vegetables, you know, like it's like, so eat more.
Oh, like crop,
the whole crop diversity, but yeah.
So if oysters
eat all the cows.
Sentient, if oysters are not sentient, then that gives somebody a reasonable license to eat oysters, but it doesn't give them reasonable license to eat chickens or condone other people eating chickens. And so many people use it that way. Haha, I've disproven your generalization, vegans, with oysters, and then they're going to KFC.
Yeah, I mean, my Facebook is full of some of the smartest people on Facebook, and they get so rich, their whole logic goes out the window when it comes to this stuff. And we sit here and we read this stuff where it's like, oh my God, how is this person saying this right now?
Yeah, some of the most intelligent people in the world just crumble as soon as animal rights comes up, like every time.
Yeah.
It's unreal. Oh, we have a new person. Hello,
what's up, Hardhat?
Oh my goodness!
What's up? Look at that guy. Hardhat's on the fence. Hardhat really needs to go vegan, but he's not there yet, and so he's very interested in hearing our banter because he's very close to being vegan.
I am actually, and you might hear a puppy dog barking in the background. I got a new fucking creator's gift, and I'm just ecstatic over the world. But anyway, yeah, I am still on the fence. A lot of it has to, and I've heard actually earlier in the stream I was kind of jumping around, but basically that I'm not going to be deficient, right? And because I've seen these videos of these people that are, you know, like I need to work hard. I'm fucking yes, Carl. But anyway, just that you can live healthy, right? Not eating meat. I don't eat a lot now. The stuff that I do, when I do, it is where I buy it from. I know you guys won't understand this, but basically these cows are living a life over top of fucked up mountains and forests for their lives. But yeah, then they get slaughtered right at the end. But they're not from the kill lots or whatever, but oh, Carl, look at this guy. But yeah, it doesn't make it right, but I am on the fence, right? And it's part of my little journey, you know, with all this bullshit and lies that are out there. But I've always connected with animals my whole life, right? I like animals more than humans. It's always been like that. I've been blessed when I have an animal with me, because I seem to always be a better person, right? I'm guided, things work out. You know, even when I do my concrete work, there'll be a fucking ant or a spider going over where I'm fucking troweling and I need a trowel, and I'll pick them up on my trowel. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, buddy. I got to do this shit. And I'll spin them off, right? So I literally do my best in everything not to, you know what I mean? Because I even said once, like, this little fucking guy, he's going to be living tomorrow morning, you know, doing whatever the fuck he does, living his life, right? When I could have just squashed him and mucked him over in the fucking mud. You know what I mean? And anyway, I need to put more fucking actually do something about it and do it. But anyway, I'm here to learn. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you should just dive in. The way to think about it with the food is, don't think about it as you need meat, you need nutrients. You need to source them from a different place. Your body doesn't need meat. It just needs protein. It needs iron. It needs all this. And you can just get all that from plants. So if you need X amount of protein for your, like you're saying, because you do a lot of hard work, then you just get your protein from somewhere else and make sure you get the same amount. Just eat lots of tofu and seitan and things that are going to be high in protein, lots of nuts, legumes, all that kind of stuff. And as far as anything else, I mean, the way you're talking about animals, you've already got the right mindset. You care about the ants, you care about the little bugs and stuff, and it's just extending that just to these other animals, and just knowing that they value their lives just as equally. And you would never, if you were there with them, you would never want to harm them.
Well, I do have a question. Quick, is that I'm justifying in getting into this that eggs and fish are good, and I know I can get lots of good protein from eggs and fish and stick to the rest. But then I know, Jeff, you kind of, I forget what you said about it. I remember I asked you once, but what do you guys think? Paleo something, but what do you think of that, getting eggs and fish, or is that no?
Well, you got to think about, so for example, with fish, I mean, they're another living being. Like, why would we kill them if we didn't need to? And you can get omega-3s from other places, like flax seeds and stuff like that. Obviously, you can supplement if you need to. As far as eggs, all the egg chickens are being slaughtered once they don't once they don't produce enough eggs. The male chicks in the egg industry are getting dropped into a blender at 1 day old or gassed alive. Like, they're going through like these horrific things to provide the egg, and there's nothing within an egg, nothing within a fish that you can't source from somewhere else. So that there's no real need to do it. And if you are someone who wants to, not harm animals, which seems like that's the kind of guy you are, then there's literally no reason to do it. Like, I haven't eaten any meat since 2002. I've been completely vegan for 9 years. My bloods are always absolutely fine. I've never had any issues. I very, very rarely get ill, and that's the same not just for me. I know that's just an anecdote, but I mean, like, you look at the biggest health organizations on the planet, such as the NHS, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, they're all saying that a vegan diet is completely nutritionally adequate for all stages, whether you're a baby to an adult, or whether you're someone into an athlete. It's all there. Like I said, it's not about what you're eating. It's just you need nutrients. It's just where you source those nutrients. So
yeah, I got a. Sorry, I'm going to jump in. Then I'm going to listen. I got a question just because of my dog now. My last dogs, I'm feeding them raw food right now. Right. So what do you do with dogs then? Right. So right now I'm buying organic beef with carrots and yams and shit mixed in for my dog. But how is that good for my dog if I'm killing shit? And what can dogs eat? You know what I'm saying?
Well, the dogs are naturally omnivores, and they can actually thrive on a plant-based diet. In fact, one of the world's oldest dog, it was a border collie. I can't remember what his name was now, but it was one of the oldest dogs ever. I think they were 28 or something. It's in the Guinness World Records, and they were completely on a plant-based diet. And there's a lot of new studies that have come out very recently. Actually, there's one by a guy called Andrew Knight talking about the positive effects of cat and dog vegan food, actually, and they found that vegan cats and dogs can be extremely healthy, and in some areas can actually be beneficial for them, because you're feeding your dog kind of more raw food, but especially the commercial foods, a lot of that's full of junk. It's literally the waste products of what we're feeding humans. So in that respect, it can be even worse. But you can totally feed your dog vegan. There are tons of people I know with vegan dogs that are thriving, not having any problems. Cats have a bit more of an issue because of the taurine. That it can crystallize their urine, and that can be quite dangerous to them. But again, it's not meat you need to give that anyone needs. It's nutrients, and it's where you source those nutrients. So as long as they're getting the right nutrients, whether it's in a vegan formula or a meat formula, that they're going to be getting what they need. Hope that answers your question.
There was just a study where they were looking at they did like a real blind study, and they were finding that a lot of the ailments that the dogs have on the meat diet, they weren't having on the vegan diet, like a lot of the normal ailments like renal gland failure and stuff like that. It was just one study, but it's looks pretty good. I know you like Chris said, it's not the same for cats. There still need to be some stuff, but a lot of the deficient vegan talk is because a lot of people will go vegan as some sort of drastic measure, and they'll be basically starving themselves. They'll go vegan and basically get a eating disorder. And you do hear a lot of people failing at vegan because of that, but you just need to eat enough. And since you have a purpose, you need to work, you need to stay strong. You have more motivation to eat correctly as a vegan than one of these fad dieters that's just trying to lose some weight, and like, you'll be surprised once you get plant-based, how strong you get and how more you'll be able to endure. And then, all this weight, some weight will fall off of you that you don't need. And you'll, leaning out, humans are supposed to be pretty lean for the most part, leaning out a little bit is always pretty good. And, so you just need to eat more, you might need to eat a little bit more than you would normally, but you'll eat, you'll figure out where you'll get your protein, and these proteins are really clean. And, like I was saying, since you are so interested and you are so concerned with switching, you'll be better at being a vegan than probably any of, the next 9 people that are just doing it just to do it.
Yeah, you should watch The Game Changers on Netflix.
And then you'll get really proud about it too. You'll be like, fuck yeah, you'll be like one of us, coming up here and talking about it.
The documentary Game Changers is about vegan athletes, and it's got everyone from kind of bodybuilders, weightlifters to endurance athletes, and it goes over all those kind of benefits, and that kind of would probably benefit you to kind of watch that. And just to put it out there as well, obviously we've only just met, but if you ever need to ask any questions or anything, I'm more than happy for you to contact me. I know a lot of people as well. I do university talks on animal rights and veganism and stuff, and it's basically my biggest passion. So I'm more than happy to help you in any way. And if I don't know the answer to something, I can point you to someone who does.
Well, I was wondering, actually, Jeff, you mentioned in the last stream about where to contact me. If you could put in the back chat your email, because the only email I have kind of identifies me. So if you could put in the back chat your email, I'll email you. But if you could include this gentleman's link or his YouTube or whatever, then I can copy it. Thank you.
Yeah. Also, there's another buddy of mine I want you to talk to. Also, I just messed up my email. I put it up. I'm gonna correct it. I just messed it up. But oh dude, he's got a Victron behind him. I need that.
What is that?
It's a solar inverter.
Oh, sick.
Don't all talk at once.
I'm just thinking, maybe as it's Veganuary, maybe you should just sign up for Veganuary. You'll get full. Yeah. Everyone will talk him through it. Like literally, like Veganuary isn't just a UK thing. Like it's
okay. He's back. Yeah. Hey man, I just wanted to mention in the transitioning phase that I think it's a really good idea to get used to Googling or searching on YouTube for vegan versions of the meals that you're familiar with, rather than trying to eat entirely different dishes. And just in terms of telling your subconscious mind that this is a normal thing. Like it isn't completely weird overhaul of your life.
Well, I don't think it's a weird overhaul, definitely. And this has been, I haven't been open to a lot of stuff until the tyranny when I started learning, even though I've never been part of the system and I didn't know why. And then I learned. There's a lot. I'm not thinking it's weird or nothing. Curious, everyone up here, Jeff, Ali, and everyone else, no eggs or fish for all of you? I'm just curious.
No.
Okay, cool.
No animal products
all right.
At all. No animal byproducts, no direct.
Cool. Okay. Just
So
wondering.
no dairy is included in that as well. So no cheese, no milk.
Yeah,
that was my
I
last animal
I pretty
product
much
holdout.
That was
ahead.
yeah.
Eggs.
Eggs were like are usually like
I went from
like
I went from daily meat eater to
people will go
I went
pescatarian and
from
eat eggs
daily
and
meat eater
eat
to
fish. Okay, never
vegan
mind.
at home overnight, and it wasn't the only transitional period I had wasn't about any particular product, but it was about restaurants in Korea where I would like have the meat removed or whatever, but there would still be fish broth or bone broth or whatever, like small amounts of animal products couldn't easily be removed in restaurants. But other than that, my kitchen and my ordinary everyday diet, I went cold turkey from seriously being a heavy meat eater to no animal products at home, which was like 90% of my meals or more, and I didn't die. And I don't remember how long I had some symptoms of finally getting an adequate amount of fiber in my diet, a little bit of bloating and whatever. It wasn't very long, and then the other thing, man, is that it becomes a lot easier than you expect, just sort of physiologically for a lot of us. The first time that I realized that my senses were changing, it was probably like 7 or 8 months after I went vegan, and I'm in a bar, and I just smell this horrific like vomit, like decaying corpse kind of stench. And I just turn around surprised, and there's like a fajita platter coming behind me. It's not a struggle, not only because of the footage that I've seen and the ethical side, but my body just perceives so many animal products as crazy, foreign, disgusting, non-food, foreign. And then in the supermarket, you start to see the glowing pink, meat section. It looks like a fucking medical examiner's lab that somehow got put next to the food. It's like, here's the food over here, and then here's like some dystopian science fiction movie set.
It is weird how that changes, isn't it? You literally you call it the death aisle now. You don't even perceive
it's like 6 weeks in. I remember I was in Whole Foods, and I walked by the meat section, and I literally almost threw up, and I was like, whoa, like it's just one day it just happens, and then it's not as hard anymore, because whenever you smell it, you're just like, that doesn't smell good.
Yeah, it's strange.
I got a couple questions again. They're popping in my head. Two of them, spiritually, like I'm not into the Abrahamic religions, and I don't want to get into that because whatever. But I believe in a creator, 1,000%, and that's what I've kind of come around to after being an agnostic for a long time. But it has nothing to do with God. I like to say creator. Hi, Carl. But what was my point to that? Thinking of the creator. Hey, buddy. I did have the question.
We were talking about God stuff earlier, or at least like.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if this helps answer your question, but one thing that's worth thinking about with veganism is it's nothing to do with spirituality. It's nothing to do with anything. It's more of a social justice issue. It's more of a abstaining from animal exploitation in your life. In the same way that we're not racist, that we're not homophobic.
Okay, actually, it came to me. I apologize. My question was: so I have this belief in a creator, right? Not the Abrahamic religions. What did, when you changed to not eating animal meat, how did your spiritual growth change, or what happened when you fucking made that change? That, you know what I'm saying? And then the other question, yeah, we'll leave the other question, but that was the one. Like, when you made that change, did you feel a surge in, like, this is what I need to do, with your connection with the creator when you cut out the animal meats?
I mean, I'm agnostic, so I don't know whether I'm the best person to answer this. I guess I'm trying to think. In more of a personal sense, it was more kind of, it felt like your blinders had been taken off. Like you've been lied to your whole life, and suddenly you can see clarity and you can see clearer, and it feels like a more natural way of being. So I guess you could look at that in a spiritual way. Like, it seemed more like, this is how we should be acting. This is where our morals should be, not what we were doing previously. It feels right, I guess. I mean, I don't know if anyone else can expand on that.
I think that my creator is Mother Earth. I know we're out we're out seeing animals all the time, and I feel closer to them because I don't eat them. And if you're as much of an animal lover as you say you are, you're so close, dude. You're so close. You're like prime candidate for going vegan for so many different reasons. But yeah, I mean, we see crows and we talk to the animals out there, and they know, like we always talk to them like they know our animals, like, because we actually think they do, because we're all on different levels connected and shit like that. But definitely you feel better about your imprint on Mother Earth when you don't have 16 animals deaths on your plate every week. Like, that shit piles up. I know back in the Hindu religions and stuff, they have some crazy writings about people who eat animals.
Yeah, ahimsa.
Hey, Jeffrey and Braxton, you guys remember on the previous therapy stream when I was talking about how important I think it is to think about gods and angels and beings that are much more advanced than we are?
Yeah.
I don't know if Hardhat is still listening. I guess he is. But yeah, I was saying on this stream before, even though I don't believe that gods actually exist, I think it's incredibly useful to be able to have a perspective where you imagine beings, and it can also be in fantasy or science fiction kind of context that help you do this, but imagine beings that are not only much more powerful than we are, but much older, much wiser, much more moral. And because it's a very dangerous illusion that we Homo sapiens around today in our current cultures represent some kind of pinnacle of sentience, of intelligence, wisdom, moral goodness. Like, even very pro-justice vegans will often casually refer to humans as fully sentient or fully intelligent. There's nothing fully about us. we are like barely scratching the surface of the logically and physically possible moral goodness, wisdom.
Yeah, you hear some people and you think
we are just this much above the chimpanzee.
Yeah,
in our
people
capacity.
who deny that we're animals will say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're not perfection, and so having some kind of ability to tap into religious-like thinking, even if you don't believe that the religion is literally true, it's a really good skill to have.
Yeah,
to really have that deep humility.
Yeah, I mean, it's even in terms of if you look at the AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, or NA, those types of movements, they'll even say that you have to consider that there's some kind of a higher power that you're giving, that you're getting your power from, that keeps you moving and everything, keeps you I guess you have that accountability to an extent. And like, even, you know, if you're agnostic or atheist or anything like that, you have to kind of struggle with that. But it's like, yeah, when you hear some people who just, you know, they don't care about like anything, it's like, well, there's sort of a karmic consequence of that where you can see it in their lives, even if it doesn't, you know, automatically manifest. Like, you know, you do something bad and then something automatically hits you. It's like there's still going to be little weird patterns that kind of pick up that, like, we, you know, we maybe can't even perceive it all the time, but something's going on. And so it's interesting to think that, like, yeah, there's consequences to a lot of this stuff, that maybe there is some kind of a higher power. I consider that, you know, even if it's not like a specific God, there's still something that we should at least be doing the right thing for ourselves.
I definitely believe in a higher power, but I spent a bunch of years in AA. I stopped drinking 16 years ago, I guess now. Do you ever wonder why the logo for AA is a triangle in a circle? And when I was there, the one thing that actually, you know, it's full of good people, good loving people that fucking helped me when I was at my bottom. But there was so much predatory behavior that happened in the rooms, and no one, you know, it's keep your side of the street clean was their saying, right? It's like, fuck you, I'm going to keep my side street clean, and I'm going to make sure my neighbor's clean too, right? And so I saw a lot of really nasty shit happening in the rooms, and that's why I left after about 7 years sober, you know. And then now I learned about shit and see the symbolism, you know. And you look anyway. I don't know what my point was, but yeah. Oh, I did have a question too. The other one that I forgot was, there's times when I've gone without meat, right? And I feel I take testosterone every week. I have to. My pituitary gland is fucked up. I fucked it up by doing a bunch of drugs in my 20s, and I don't produce testosterone. So I basically are like a fucking 80-year-old man if I don't take it. So I take it all the time. I have been for 20 years. You know, I'm not a juice junkie. It's just I have, like, you can't live in depression and fucking sleepiness, whatever. But my point is, there's times that I feel, and I'll get a steak and I feel like I feel better every couple weeks. Is that just because I'm not picking the right fucking nutrients, why I'm getting that obsession or whatever?
Pretty much. The thing about something like a steak is it's very nutrient dense. So when you're eating something like that, you're getting a lot of those nutrients in one small portion. But if you ate this same equivalent amount of food with, you know, with beans and tofu and stuff like that, your body would be getting exactly the same. There's no magical thing in meat that you can't get elsewhere. Or it could just be, just to put out there, it could also be just some sort of placebo effect as well. Just kind of like having such a dense meal is just giving you a bit of a rush all at once. I don't know, Jeffrey.
One thing a lot of people don't take into consideration is that meat, when it was last alive, that animal was being killed, and so its adrenal system was kicking off, and there were all kinds of death, torturous, you know, like horrific hormones being released into the meat. And so if you eat it, you might be getting a kind of a little buzz from that. And when you eat meat, you're telling your brain that you're in fight or flight, because our bodies can eat meat as like a survival thing, you know, like it's not our ideal. Obviously, heart disease, all this shit comes from eating meat and dairy. So it's obviously not our ideal diet. And so,
okay, how about this though? Going into conspiracy theory with what you said about the meat and getting a rush off it. So do you think there's truth into this adrenochrome shit or whatever the word is? That probably. People are, if you get it from babies that are getting tear, that they get a bigger rush out of what they pushed on all us eating meat, getting the rush from. Like it's a different rush, but the same.
Dude,
or not the same.
Man.
Guys,
yeah, you know what I mean?
I have no clue what you're talking about.
Come on. Oh.
Adrenochrome. The elites are weird. People with
I can sort of figure it out etymologically.
Out weird drugs.
Yeah, it's the Illuminati, you know, kind of farming it out of babies, apparently, aren't they? Because it's like a
But
drug.
yeah, 9 out of 10 times you have someone who's vegan or vegetarian.
This is like the Pizzagate stuff. Hillary Clinton, whatever. Are getting high off of babies' terror.
9 out of 10 times you got someone who goes back to eating meat from not eating meat. They're like, oh, I feel so much better. And it's like, yeah, that might not be like a good, you're feeling something. You know,
drugs feel good.
Drugs feel good. Heroin feels good. Speed feels good.
Well,
you got to withdraw, or you got to detox for a little bit, but now you're getting back into that mental space again. It's kind of like a relapse.
Hormones in the meat too. I mean, it's a mammal. It's another mammal you're ingesting or whatever other animal, but that's uptaken by our bodies, regardless if it's from stress or fear. Just normal functioning hormones. You're eating from an animal that produces those same things in you versus eating like phytoestrogens. They've shown it has completely different effects on our body, but it's not uptaken directly as estrogen. Hence the myth of men eating soy and getting titties. Not necessarily true.
I've always found that hilarious because soy would be like every single woman on the planet would be just piling
eating soy like crazy. Titties.
Low cost implants. Come on, man. No, but it's actually against breast cancer. But
the porn industry would be the biggest consumer of soy.
Yeah, not to be too controversial here, but wouldn't like trans people who are trying to do the replacement therapy, wouldn't they be all over that?
Yeah. And the other thing is the Japanese and Korean women sure are famous for
they put a large boobs.
The main soy consuming cultures on Earth.
Flat ladies.
So the ones who had tofu as a staple of their diet.
Yeah. I did always find that ridiculous. I don't know where that came from.
The Durian Rider always makes funny points like that about Asia. Like it's like rice makes you fat. What? Carbs make you fat. Like
millions of Asians.
Not a good example there.
I wanted to say to Hardhat here again. That talking about that feeling of eating steak. Don't shy away from the comfort food phenomenon. I mean, it's not a good idea to eat comfort food type stuff all the time, but just eat a bowl full of Beyond Steak or something, or just like
or a bunch of potatoes, or just cook more
vegan comfort foods. There are vegan comfort foods.
Well, what do you think about this? I mean, one of the questions I guess that's popping up in my head is all these the soy products, right? And they're basically saying that because there are high estrogens in all these products, it's part of making men not men anymore, right? These beta males by pumping them. Is that true?
No, we just covered that 2 seconds ago. I think you
guys hear the guy with Earthling Ed.
I've got a little puppy right now that's a baby, and that's why I'm blocking off because he needs attention. I'm sorry.
The short version of it is it's bullshit. You don't have to worry about it.
Have you guys seen the interview Earthling Ed had with
meat is full of estrogen.
Which one was that?
Eat meat so that we didn't get taken over by China or whatever. That was one of Earthling Ed's infamous conversations. Is the guy making the argument that that eating animals makes us aggressive, increases our aggression, and we Americans need that aggression to be able to resist the Chinese invasion or whatever.
By the way,
Hardhat. There's way more bioavailable estrogen in meat than there is in soy. Like it's off the charts in meat because that animal already has that estrogen in its body, and then you're eating it, and so you're adding to No,
you know what? You're actually right. A little background. I was with a girl for 5 years, and her dad was a horse race trainer. And so I used to get veterinarian steroids from him to sell and to use. And basically, some of this stuff was testosterone that had estrogen in it, right? And so you can't sell that stuff or whatever. But that's what they had, was this testosterone with, you know, a small amount, but still estrogen that they're pumping, obviously, because it's for the animals, not humans, obviously, right? But it's
well, I think everyone has a balance of the two in their body, and if you want to add muscle, you add more testosterone to your body, and if you want to, I believe so.
Well, no, it is, and I've actually heard, and this is why people, you know, a lot of people are like, "What the hell, testosterone? You juice monkey, this and that." There's a lot of women that are suffering from massive menopause problems, and what it is they just need this minuscule amount of testosterone because of this imbalance of progesterone and whatever else they're using. And they actually do this shit in their 40s when they're going through it, and they're living healthy, right? Because they need, women have testosterone, right? But just minute, not like us men. But again, how much are the products we're taking in that are harming our endocrine systems, right? As we get older, now we're fucked. Menopause is worse. Low testosterone in men, right? I don't know.
Yeah. And like getting all these hormones in the meat, it's doing exactly what happened to you. You did too much gear back in the day. You did too much back in the day. Now you can't produce it anymore. So when you're eating this meat and you're introducing all these new hormones to your body that aren't naturally there, it's doing the same thing. You know, you're screwing with your hormone system, and that can take, you know, it's very, everything in our bodies works off of that, you know.
100%, Jeff. I don't live a victim, right? And I'm definitely, I fucked myself up, right? But I mean, a lot of people did different type of drugs, and this, I mean, you know, I had my little forays into E and this and that, but I mean, I fucked myself.
You were mostly lifting, though. You were.
Well, no, the thing is I was lifting, I was competing in bodybuilding, but I was also in the club scene too, right? So there's lots of GHB, lots of E, right? Okay. But my thing is I was always eating. So you see all these guys that partied and they whittle down to nothing and they get fucked. Yeah. Well, I've always kept my health. I kept exercising on top of it. So I was still harming myself indoctrinally or whatever inside, right? Yeah. That's why I'm fucked now. Like if I don't, I'm fucked. Like without any extra tests. And I've tried. I went 8 months. I went through the medical system. The girl I was with for 10 years, and we still love each other. We share a dog. She's like my little mama to my dog now. You know, it's still good. We're just happier apart, right? Like it's healthier. Yeah. But she said, "Hey, I want you to go legit." So I went through 8 months of not taking anything, going through an endocrinologist through our China health system. And she was fucking me. Like I was dying. And Tamara and my ex was like, "Get back on the shit. You're fucked." Right. Well, they don't want to put men on it. Right. If it's a natural thing, okay. But if you say, "Yeah, listen, because of my past life and I was a motherfucker and I made bad decisions and now I've fucked up my brain and I'm not whatever," they don't want to help you in Canada much. Right. Yeah. And whatever, I don't care. It's no big deal. It's man, I live good now.
I said it earlier, but you are such a prime candidate to be a successful vegan and to impact your health in a positive way, dude. You're like, because there's so many people that it's just like, oh, this person would never be able to do it. Like you, it just sounds like you have all the, you know, you have all your stuff there. And you know, because you are so concerned, you will, you know, you'll be careful about it and you'll probably do it the right way. Which it's taken me, I mean, I've been a vegan a total of like maybe 15 something years of my life, and it's taken me this long, and to get 45 and to, you know, like date someone who really knows how to cook too, to really like know how to do it right, because I never really had a reason to, you know, you have a reason to, you have motivation, you have to stay alive and you have to stay strong for work. So like, you know, it sounds like, you know, you should start trying it out. Remember, back in the day, I was like, you know, try it on the weekends, just start doing weekends. and then add one more day if it starts getting easier, and it's like you aren't completely fully committed yet, but you at least get your foot in the door, and then you'll just notice you'll go 3 days, 4 days, and you'll be all, oh hell yeah, I'm gonna try and go for a week, and you just have to really, you just got to really eat a lot. You got to eat, you just got to eat and eat. You got to make sure you're getting enough carbs and enough protein and all that stuff. But then you'll lean out a little bit and you'll get a little bit quicker. And I think you'd definitely be successful at it.
Well, I'm kind of on my way, I guess.
Skill, it seems like you probably have already. The most important skill is being able to stand up to the bullshit of society. not being afraid of being weird in order to do what's right. Some people manage to have that skill set at a surprisingly young age. I went vegan at the age of 40 after being a quite large meat eater, heavy meat eater, and I just did it basically out of a midlife crisis where I said, my life's halfway over, and what's the point of it if I'm just moving along on inertia and doing what everybody in society does instead of making choices to make the world a better place and be a better person. And I wish I would have had that skill set when I was 20, because I was a philosophy major. I would have been able to understand the arguments for veganism at the age of 20. But, the most important overriding skill is being able to prioritize being kind and good over being normal. And
ooh, that was good. Damn, dude.
I got another question that just came to my head. What about someone that, say, you're not buying your meat from the meat factories, you're living in the bush, you take a moose for the winter, you use every part of the moose, you pray when you get it, let's say, and you're giving thanks for that. How does that work? I'm just questioning.
That leans towards survival situation, but kind of not really, because you have the option to not be out there in the bush. But
I said earlier in this chat. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Jeffrey. I said earlier in this chat when we're talking about Garland, a good person tries to advocate a way that the world could be, and be a better world for all of the sentient beings in it. Not a good person is not motivated only by selfishly reducing their own direct impact. So when you talk about say living on all the vegetables you grow yourself and then the one moose that you hunt and put in your freezer, that's obviously not scalable to the world, to the human population of the world. And so that sort of focus, even though the ethical impact of such a large animal being killed fairly quickly is very small compared to what the impact people normally have on sentient beings. It's not scalable. So that's a strange, narrow self-purity focus instead of trying to improve the world. The reason why, the kind of factory farming that exists for a reason, because it's the only way that the human population can afford animal products.
Subsidies and factory farms are the only way we're allowed to eat as much meat as we are.
So, right. So in terms of improving the world, the focus has got to be on getting people on plants, because plant agriculture, with modern science especially, adding nutrients to the plants, preserving the plants in all the various ways that we do, that can sustainably support the human population. And
I would add to that as well. I was going to say, I would add to that, like, you know, you got to look at it as in, what about if it was, we don't kill a moose, but we kill a human? Like, would it be acceptable to do that? Because ultimately, if you killed a human, you'd probably be doing better for the world. You'd still be able to eat the human, and the human causes more damage than the moose ever would to the environment around it. So you could see that as a more ethical choice, but we wouldn't, because we understand that the moose and the human both are sentient beings and both value their lives, and therefore we wouldn't take them. So even in that situation, we can find these kind of very unique situations, like we could say, oh, we could kill a blue whale, or we could kill this, or we could kill a human, and it's less in that respect. But for the individual, it's the same. For that individual moose that you might kill, it's a life taken, where you could have made a decision that doesn't, it's not a requirement for the death. When you pick up, you eat an apple, it's not required that an animal had to die for that apple. And I'd say that's a more ethical choice. And like Jeremy was saying, it's not a scalable thing. If everyone decided to do hunting, we would make every animal extinct within probably a few weeks on the planet. So it's not even a thing. But yeah, go for it. I think you want to chime back in there.
Yeah, it's funny. I like your perspective, Jeff. I can't see the names anymore, but yeah, Jeff, because it's funny. Chris, I apologize, Chris.
No worries.
But Jeremy, it's interesting because when you said your point, I was thinking, well, you're right. It's not scalable to the world, but what I've come to believe is I'm here for my growth and my bubble and I think I possibly maybe might be coming back again, and I'm trying to learn. And that's why, I was a fucking demon when I was younger, and I'm coming with love, is that this is what it's about, is being born, hopefully learning, growing, and coming again. So in terms of what I saw and I don't want to fuck Jeff up with saying the wrong words, but with what I witnessed through the 3 years of tyranny, 90% of the people are stuck on their job, their advancement, their mortgage payment, their, the kids holding their shoes, right? And so there ain't no advancing the human. It's about your personal bubble, having your family, loving nature. Like, that's what it's about. You're not going to change the whole. And so if I take that moose and I pray and all this stuff, maybe it's different, but you're right. It's not marketable up to the top. I thought of that, but then I heard Chris, with what you say, you talk good. Thank you.
I think it's important to. Sorry, Chris.
No, I was just going to say, ultimately, the moose doesn't care if you pray for it before you kill them.
Yeah, that part.
that's what I
completely agree with. Completely agree with that part. I was going to say, it's really useful to keep historical perspective. We are all beneficiaries of, with respect to slavery, the subjugation of women, the widespread, physical abuse of children in the past, oppression of lower social classes by aristocracies and so forth. We're all beneficiaries of brave people who were not content to remove themselves individually from evils, but sacrifice to oppose the evils. And that's what veganism is now. It's the vanguard for opposing and ending an evil. It can't be satisfied by prioritizing yourself and merely removing yourself, whatever you think that means, from direct personal impact and thinking that you're done. It has to be using the power that you have courageously to combating this immense evil. That I think we can very credibly make the case that it is the worst thing that has ever existed. Modern factory farming is worse than everything that has ever happened negatively to our own species in all of history.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's not good enough to create some kind of self-conceived like moral bubble where you're not a part of it, and you think that that's morally satisfactory.
Yeah, I guess in a way it's almost like working with the majority for the long-term goal, which will ultimately save more animals, rather than just thinking I'm going to do this and this satisfies me. You're working with the movement for the complete abolition of all animals, which is what's required. I guess that's kind of what you're saying, I guess, isn't it? Like, it's going back to that kind of what we were saying about it's not, you shouldn't just be vegan, you need to be active, and doing it goes back to that.
Yeah, you need to be effectively active, and that can vary from person to person based upon the skill sets that they have. But you should not be active for your own sense of virtue, like not just be kind of randomly active in order to make yourself feel a certain way, but you should apply your reason to determining what at the present time effective forms of activism for the end result for the animals are.
It's like doing a service in AA, Hardhat, it's giving back instead of just kind of being a dry drunk.
No, you're right. And that giving back, I think a lot of it was getting out of yourself, that you're actually, as you're getting sober and you're trying to stay sober and figure stuff out again and do things differently than you used to do. Sometimes it helped helping someone else, right? That you see the joy, you see the learning, you see the fucking desire that these people have, been to hell. Like I like to say, we've been to hell and we're coming out of it in a sense, right? Like we've seen the fucking depths of bullshit. And it helps. But yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing. But then sometimes I think you need to be in a proper, healthy headspace to help someone before you try to, I'm going to help someone, right? But then again, I guess it is just as long as you're together and you're holding tight and fucking keeping positive. But no, I hear you 100%.
I don't. The way I look at it as well, enacting violence upon another isn't going to put you in any better headspace. If you had to kill that animal, that's not going to make you feel good. Like, obviously you do feel things spiritually and everything like that, and I don't think spiritually that is going to help you, knowing that you've taken a life when you could have made another decision.
I'll tell you something I'm not proud of, and I'll fucking give you a little background you might understand with me.
Sure.
I grew up in the bush north of the 60th parallel, right? Like way up north. And I got a 22 as a birthday present when I'm not sure, when I was 14, right? And I'll just give you my experiences here with just in how my life is, and the creator has been with me from the get-go, is that I remember shooting a couple grouse, right? What we call grouse up north. But my mom was like, you have to eat them, right? Like, you're eating them. And I cooked it and I didn't like it. And then I saw a fucking, and I'm ashamed to say this and I'm going to say it. Okay. But, there was like a little bird, right? A little sparrow fucking in a tree branch 15 feet away while I was out looking for grouse and rabbits. And I fucking shot it, right? It was like right above me in a tree, and it just exploded into nothing, in the feathers. And I was like, it fucked me up, right? I did it and I was young and I was like, fuck, that didn't feel good in a sense, right? And then there's times, I don't know if you guys know about rabbits, but they go through seasons, 7-year cycles, right, of their breeding. And there's sometimes you can't find rabbits to eat. And then there's other times you're running them down in your fucking truck on the road because they're so plentiful. And I remember as like a 15-year-old that had a vehicle, you know, I remember like hitting these rabbits. And so as you come a couple of years later, as you're growing and learning and going through experiences, it's like, fuck, man, I was the devil. You know what I mean? Like, and before I got my camper here and stuff, when I split up with my ex, I was at this place living for the summer, and I was feeding this wild rabbit outside, right? That was living underneath the fucking back deck. And I'd bring it out fucking vegetables. I had this fantasy that I'd be able to pet it, but it never got where it wanted to get close enough, but it would sit like fucking 3 feet away and just sit there. Right. And, so I don't know, you know, like I've been a demon, yet I've come past that and stuff.
Well, I think in a way, as much as we all haven't done, I don't know what everyone's story is, but most of us probably haven't done anything like that. We've still been a part of doing that to animals in another way. We've been paying just for someone else to do it. So where you've been the person with the, with the guns, we're just paying someone else to do the dirty work for us, and we've all been there, and we all have that moment of being like, yeah, that's wrong. Like when you shot the little bird, you suddenly went, oh shit, that was wrong. I shouldn't have done that. But it was no different to when you shot the grouse or anything like that. In reality, to those animals, their lives were identical. Eating them didn't make it any difference. So whether you shot the bird or the grouse or the rabbit or anything like that, they're all the same to them. They didn't care what happened to their body afterwards.
This is
I'm kind of thinking too, like now that I realize who I'm talking to in a sense and who this group is, you probably think I'm a motherfucker. And
no. I mean, honest, like, I don't like quoting Jordan Peterson because he's a douchebag now, but he used to say some good stuff.
He's a motherfucker. No.
Yeah. But he said one line once. It was learn to be a monster. No, be a monster and then learn how to control it. Like we were all little shits when we were kids, like we all went through a phase of being fucking psychos when we were kids. And the important thing is you've grown out of it. You just said you've grown out of it. You don't have to worry about anything you've done in the past.
No.
Like
that was your norm.
Long gone.
That was your norm, was to go and kill the animal direct. Our norm was to pay someone else to do it for us. We've all got blood on our hands from it. None of us we're all innocent or anything. I paid for animals to get horrific things to do.
It just matters about what you do now and in the future.
Yeah, exactly. We can't help what we've done in the past, and the fact that you want to actively make a change, I'm not going to judge you on things you've already done, which when I've done basically the same thing, just in another way.
No, you're our favorite meat eater right now. Trust me.
Sure. I like to talk about moral object permanence. You guys know what object permanence is?
No.
I'm a teacher.
I kind of know the phrase, but I can't think of what it is.
I kind of studied developmental psychology. Your object permanence in babies is when they start realizing that when the ball rolls behind the sofa, that the ball is still there, right?
Okay, yeah, I know where you're going now, right?
You don't have to be sensing it to know that it's there. And so I sometimes I have this kind of a speech that I use, advocacy of moral object permanence, that a big part of what's going on as vegans is we're unable to conveniently be unaware that when there's
just compartmentalize and
there's
send
the box of wings with the like cartoon chicken on it and the happy bright colors, and it comes in a nice little plastic bag that
It's like thinking chocolate milk comes from a brown cow.
Yeah, there's the moral permanence there. That's death, and it's torture, it's mutilation, it's imprisonment, it's terror,
hell,
and it doesn't. It's hell. It's hell on earth, and that knowledge doesn't go away because we're not moral infants anymore who thinks that, actually one version of this talk that I gave I called peekaboo, and I'm comparing it to being surprised that mommy's face disappears and reappears. And all this marketing and this packaging
that makes sense.
is fooling the not yet vegans into thinking that if you do this, all of the torture isn't there.
Yeah, no,
you got to develop moral object permanence, and then
isn't that kind of summed up with that? There's that image, isn't it, where someone's like hurting an animal, and they're like, "Oh, I don't like that," and then they slowly make it go further and further away, then put a wall there, and suddenly it's like, "Oh no, it's fine now." That's behind the wall,
right?
Yeah.
The internet does a good job of that.
That's a vegan sidekick, comic. I think. Is it okay if I stab this pig in the throat right here? And then is it okay if I do it?
I got the vegan sidekick right here.
Nice. Yeah.
Hey, okay. Another question popped in my head. I was buying meat that said it was halal, right? Okay, and I want to get in the whole fucking Muslim bullshit, this and that. But so meaning they were they were killed better. So what's the deal on that? Thank you.
No, they're killed worse. They're killed better for consuming, but they're killed. They cut their throats when they're alive.
They consider it better. Down. Yeah, they consider it better because they say a little prayer and then slit their throat. They don't get stunned. They just bleed out. It's all horrific. Yeah.
Like I've posted that video. I've posted video of halal butcher on Facebook, and like meat eaters were all, holy shit! Like that's the gnarliest thing I've ever seen. Like people that are like carnivores are like were like blown away by how gnarly the death is with halal because they're alive. Like at least I guess in regular factory farms it's just a bullet to the head. These guys get a bleed out for 2 minutes probably, and they're big animals. They got a lot of blood in them, so they stay alive a long time. It's really gross.
Well, I'll just say this. I can't watch videos like that, right? Like I have to turn them off. I've watched ISIS videos to the end, which is weird because it's humans and it's like, okay, but with animals, I can't even fucking do it. But I've seen some of these slaughterhouses with cows and it's horrible. It really is horrible. They know what's going on. They know where they're going. You know what I mean?
Smell the blood, they hear the screams.
Yes. And when I've seen these cows where I've been getting my meat, and they literally all are on a mountain range for a couple years. But I mean, anyway, that's not. In the end, I'm sure they know, but it's fucked up.
It's just an excuse.
Yes, I'm sorry, it's fucked up.
Yeah, the thing is about this is one of the marketing things. The cows on the hills. It seems like they're really good and they're free. No, they're just slaves. They were bought. They were the date of their death was decided the day they were born. Those animals. And they're basically put on the field, made to look nice, and then they're sent to the same slaughterhouse as every other cow. Absolutely zero difference.
And they're killed as essentially children at
killed at 18 months old.
Their natural or less, depending on. I think dairy cows. They're usually killed something like a fifth of their natural lifespan, and meat animals much less than that.
And dairy's a million times worse for the cows.
Plus, dairy cows aren't even real. Like, they're not natural. You don't see cows out there natural like that. So we don't even know how uncomfortable they are in general. Obviously, they're being pumped full of hormones that make them shockingly fat. So they may be leading a miserable life just being alive. So you know, who knows how happy those cows are out there. They're happier than the ones in concentration camps, but they're still
they're still having their children stolen away and being
life.
forced to be pregnant, and
yeah, they still live a traumatic life where their rights are violated constantly.
That's why we bully vegetarians a little harder.
Concepts beyond just pleasure and suffering are applicable to many non-human animals. I mean, maybe at a very simple level, like an ant. Well, only very basic concepts like pleasure and pain are applicable. But when you talk about like mammals and birds, concepts like like betrayal, you know, you made me think. Even when you have these animals that are raised by kind of like homesteaders or something, feeling like they're part of a community, right? Feeling like these humans and these other animals are some kind of family together, and then one day they get fucking betrayed. They don't understand why they're getting crammed on this truck with all these other animals, and they go to a place where those humans, other animals that they've grown up knowing, are completely absent. It smells like what it is. It smells like terror and death. You know, I don't really think you can make a case that that's worse than the animals that spend every moment in hell on earth. But there is still this concept that if you've had this positive experience and then it suddenly changes into terror, that it's
broader spectrum.
There's an element of the confusion and the betrayal that.
No, I want to throw out there. I agree on that. I don't want to sound gay or nothing, but I've seen videos of people that had cows and pigs and sheep and all these fucking pets, right? And I've seen the affection and the fucking shit these animals are over the lifetime are giving these humans. That what you just said, I understand that they would understand that what the fuck is going on here? You're about to you're sending me to slaughter, and anyway, I get that. Is all I'm trying to say is that I've seen the, you know, I think the Bible says animals don't have a soul or whatever, or it's a different soul. But I mean, it's all Abrahamic shit, so disregard it. But these animals have a mother, like this fucking dog. The dogs I've had in my life, like they're a part of the creation. They help us. We help them. They help us. Like, I don't know. I'm figuring shit out. But
I always say to anyone that is spiritual or religious about animals, I say if there was any evidence that there was a creator, it would be in his creations, in an animal and everything. And the fact that we treat the creator's creations in such horrific ways is just inexcusable. You know, we will make more fuss burning a Bible or the American flag, you know, inanimate objects, than we will cutting the head off what is meant to be, you know, creation, which is just unreal. I don't understand the mentality, how people do that. It just baffles me.
When I used to work at a ski hill in Canada. I was driving a groomer, which is the guy that makes the tracks for you to ski on the next day after the snow. Best job in the world. I met this ex-undercover cop, right, that got fired from the force, and he had this scheme. And so I was driving high-end fucking Volvos, Tahoes, Astrovan campers down to California. This is a long time ago, down to California, and fucking got down there, and fuck, here I am in my fucking story again. And what the fuck were you saying again?
Oh, I was just saying how people put more value on inanimate objects than they do what are meant to be, you know, God's creations. they're more likely to, cause a fuss if you burn a Bible or burn the American flag than they are to cut an animal's head off. I don't know if that relates to your story again.
Maybe I should just keep listening, but no, it's not ringing the bell. But I mean, in that scenario, whatever it's all the same. It's I don't want to say it's the devil's creation, but all these money making schemes, right? Get rich quick, right? I was as an 18-year-old given money to go and buy brand new Volvo 850 turbos, right? These Astrovans, certain fucking camperized vehicles, Tahoes with certain specs. And what they did is, because at the time the Canadian dollar was so low, the guy that was doing this was in the States. The American dollar was so high. You'd buy these vehicles. I would drive them across, drive down to Newport Beach in California, party it up, and then fucking fly back and then keep shuttling vehicles down. And then he would put these vehicles on ships. And then they had, in Japan, they had, what do you call those guys? That you go into ports.
Customs?
The cops.
Customs?
Customs. I apologize. Yeah. Customs. They'd have custom guys under their arm. And so off these vehicles that I was giving cash for $60,000 Volvo 850 turbos, they would make $120,000 American in China, right? And it was all let through, and that's how this whole, right? And so I got into this where I was going down to California. I almost died. I was trying to surf, and I almost broke my neck, and I hit the sand. I got bashed down on a down wave, and I heard this and I was like, holy fuck. And it dawned on me, I could die down here. No one knows I'm down here. I'm doing crazy shit. But anyway, it was probably dealing with the devil, right? But it was a lot of fun. Not sure the point of that. Sorry.
Cool story, Hardhat.
Fun story there. I'm going to give myself another 20 minutes, and then I'm going to have to sleep because it's 3 a.m. now. I'll round it up at 3:30 a.m. It's fine.
Yeah,
we can do another 20 minutes. I've come this far.
Yeah,
you're doing great.
I'm a lot more alert
over the hour. Yeah,
I'm a lot more alert than last time we did a 3 a.m. one with Garland. I was like flaking by the end.
Fried.
Yeah, but that was more intense. We're just kind of chatting a bit more casual here. With Garland, it was just like debate for like hours.
Yeah.
But,
I was gonna say that book that I put in the comments, like, highly recommend checking that out, because that gets into like spirituality. Manly P. Hall, he's like really deep into like esoteric spirituality. Some people, like, I'm still learning about him. I know his teachings are really good, but some people kind of look at him like, oh, he had ties to Freemasonry and stuff, and they just like, they just write it all off. But there are a lot of really good teachings to be found in this stuff. But this particular story, I found, and he's basically talking about, like, it's like an allegory of like a guy who becomes like the hermit. He goes out into the mountains to live because I think it's kind of like what's his name, Zarathustra.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, he like went out to go live in the mountains and he became a hermit, and like he'd been out there for like many years, and people always heard stories about the old man and everything, and it was just, he was kind of an enigma. But then there's this like kid, he's like a teenager, and he's out like hunting out in the mountains, and I think it was like he just saw a deer that was just hanging out doing its own thing, and he'd been trying to work on his hunting skills, and so he's going to like draw back the bow, and he's about to let it go, and the old man like stops his arm, and like the kid's like, taken aback by it and everything, but he kind of like teaches the kid throughout the course of the story that it's like, these are my mountains, like since I've lived here for so long, the animals, they actually, they'll take care of me because I've taken care of them. Like, it might be a little like fantasy like, but he would say like, a squirrel would like jump on his shoulder and like put a nut in his mouth, to like trying to feed him and everything. And it's just a really cool story. I just found it like about a week ago, and I'm about to go back through and read it because I didn't read the full thing. But yeah, it's a heart touching story. It's really good.
I've just found the PDF for it. Actually, I'm going to check that out. Actually, I'll link it in here if anyone wants it. It's on Archive.
Okay. Yeah, I think I posted that too, but I don't know if I went through. But yeah.
Do you guys think that some animals can smell the difference between a flesh-eating and a plant-eating human?
I don't know. You sometimes think that, do you? Like they know I'm vegan, like because they really.
Yeah, we
I
always
hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of interesting powers of smell that we can't intuitively relate to.
Yeah.
At least where I'm at right now, definitely. I'll just speak with dogs because that's my best experience. They definitely can smell a good human. When you watch a dog, watch their eyes when they come up to you and smell you, right? They know, right? Whatever the fuck they're smelling, they can kind of know a good guy or a bad guy. Now, whether that translates into a meat eater or not, I'm not sure. But dogs are pretty cool. Like they will tell you before you kind of with your senses, you will kind of pick up, right? And that's why you're like, okay, but.
Well, they're masters at reading your facial expressions and shit. Like they can see what you're thinking by your facial expressions better than we can of them. But yeah, what's up, Devin? You just get off work?
I'm just eating some vegan slop right now.
Yeah.
Just kidding. It's awesome.
It's a good timing. Not
You have
to
any advice for Hardhat, Devin? Hardhat's on the fence of going vegan. He's very, very close.
Eat your fucking vegetables, dude. When I first went vegan, what was hard is getting full, like, and staying full for a really long time. Like how you are, like, when you eat before you go vegan. Because all the food is, like, lower in calories. For the most part. I mean, you just have to, like, slowly acclimate your body to it because your gut biome will change over time to work with what you're feeding. And then I don't know. I don't like the foo-foo thing about like, oh, listen to your body, but you kind of like you'll feel like, oh, my body's like processing this better. I feel like more full for longer. It takes months or even years to get there. But yeah, just stick to it. I mean, just stick to your principles. Like the main thing is to do the right thing. That's why we all do it, That's why we all stay vegan. I think we see a lot of vegans online, they bail out because they weren't doing it for the right reasons. They were doing it for clout, or they were doing, dietary, this and that. It's not the right way to go about it.
And being good, living your life to do good, to, like I said before, being on the positive side of the scale, right? Or like Scrooge has to learn in A Christmas Carol, being engaged with others. It's like a muscle. It is like working out. The more you live your life with moral concerns in focus, the stronger you get at it. Yeah. The more natural it is.
Yeah, it's awkward at first.
Yeah, something that actually is worth mentioning, just in case, because we haven't really brought it up, is just to know that as well. Veganism extends just beyond just your diet as well.
Yeah.
It's a philosophy of non-animal exploitation across everything that we do. So even kind of looking at kind of what clothing you're wearing. Are you wearing animal skins? What are you using products tested on animals? Are you supporting things that could harm animals? And it's just, working towards eliminating animal exploitation across everything in all respects. Diet's obviously the big one that most people kind of struggle with because it's the biggest initial change, but it's also just looking beyond that, and it's and thinking about it in a way that it's not that you can't do things, it's that you no longer want to, and that makes it easier, especially with food. It's not like it's not like you can't eat meat. I mean, you physically can if you want to, but you're choosing not to because why that's not a good thing to do. And that's the best way of thinking about it, I think, is never think about it as a diet. Think about it as a philosophy and a social justice movement, ultimately, of you want to do something good for animals, and a part of that is to not consume them, and to not wear them and not exploit them, kind of thing. And I always find that is what makes people stick with it when you think about it, when it doesn't become a diet anymore. Because people always say to me that, oh, what, you can't eat this? And I'm like, no, I can eat that. I choose not to. Yeah, I won't do that because I don't want to. Yeah.
Oh, and also the word diet is derived from the word, I think it's Greek. There might be a Latin version too, but dieta, which means like way of life. So it's not just, it's like not just what you're eating, but it's like that's a part of it, but it's your actions in general too.
Yeah.
So that kind of ties into that.
Beyond your meal.
Yeah. Everything you do is activism, basically.
Yeah.
It's more of a boycott.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a better way to think about it. Yeah.
Mm.
We will not consume these things.
While we're here, we have inevitable impact. We have the power to impact others. And it's not even a power that we can choose not to have. You will impact others. And what you can choose is to have more and more positive impacts. And as in A Christmas Carol, one of the greatest stories ever told, if you don't have the positive impact while you're here, then you will metaphorically be bearing the chains of all those failed opportunities for eternity as a spirit who desperately wishes that you could interact positively with the world, but no longer has the power. And that's the best depiction of hell that I've ever encountered. The chains of Jacob Marley and the way he describes, goodness to Scrooge is all this time, every year, every day that you're hiding away from the good that you could do because you're too scared. You're forging your chain link by link and yard by yard. It's not good enough to be neutral. We've been granted this amazing power. We've got to use it for good.
Jeffrey, you need to make a load of good YouTube reels out of all this.
Whoa. Hold on, what?
So you've got to make some good YouTube reels out of these podcasts.
Yeah.
There's so many good quotes that are coming.
This has like been my favorite one by sure. This is like,
there's some really good quotes that you could just make some like 30-second clips and stuff, like the analogy, like from Christmas Carol and stuff like that. I think they're really cool because they're just really simple and easy to understand. Oh, race leaders, race, what's going on?
When I first met Jeremy, I was like, oh shit, this guy's got a bunch of good one-liners. What were you just trying to say, Devin?
Oh, I was just asking him if he has content posted on like the philosophy of the Christmas story.
He's got a couple.
Me?
Yeah.
I did a talk with Carson, and we got distracted onto other topics for a good chunk of it. That was okay, but then I did a second talk on A Christmas Carol with Jerome,
Jerome,
that I was really proud of.
that one's better.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've seen there's a video out there. It's like everything you need to know about life is in The Wizard of Oz. Like there's a lot of messages in there about like how to conduct yourself and how the world works and stuff.
Yeah, I'm writing a vegan Christmas Carol, and yeah, maybe something like 20% through it. I'm writing really disconnected scenes, but it's coming fairly naturally. There actually is, and I don't just mean a version that removes all of the animal products, because that actually exists. There's this guy. I could maybe link he did like a local radio interview. He's in Massachusetts somewhere, a Quaker, I think, and and so he veganizes classic literature, just removing all of the references to animal products. So he's done that, but no, what I'm writing is basically a version where Scrooge starts out as an anti-vegan troll and
Garland Farms.
and
You gotta use Garland.
And yeah, it's very very much has some humorous references to things that culturally come up in veganism, but keeps the serious message of confronting the aspects of your past that made you closed off to doing good in the world, and then seeing in the present all the suffering around you, and all of the opportunity that exists for you to do, and then moving into what your future will be if you don't depart from your current path. Yeah. Hopefully, I'll probably get it done in a couple of months, I think, and then I'll see who I can send it to.
That
and
sounds awesome.
Hopefully, somebody who has resources and filmmaking skills will have some interest in it, which is not me. But I know how to write, and I know that story like the back of my hand. I've been fairly obsessed with it for longer than I've been vegan, for probably something like 12 years.
If you write it, I'll pay for us to get an animator from Fiverr, and we'll have them make like an animated story along with it. It'll be dope.
Yeah.
But on that note, I'm gonna let Chris go.
Well, I got 5 minutes. So you
got 5 minutes? Okay, never mind.
I don't know if you want to talk about anything specific for 5 minutes. I don't know. Utilize me for 5 minutes. Or
Why
I can
don't
just
you
leave.
tell everyone about your movie?
I kind of. What do you want to know?
Your documentary. What's it about exactly? These guys don't know about it.
Okay. Okay. So I'm making a film called Taking Note. It's about the history of animal rights and music. It was music that basically got me into animal rights initially. The band Goldfinger with their song "Free Me," and basically been making it for 7 years. And
sorry, what's that title? Fool Me?
No, Free Me was the name of the song.
Free Me.
Yeah.
Free Me?
Yeah, it was on this album here. Open Your Eyes by Goldfinger.
Uh-huh.
It was the bonus track on here. So that basically exposed me to animal rights, and then I instantly went vegetarian at that point, and obviously become vegan later down the line, became an activist. So it completely changed my life. But it kind of got me interested in the kind of idea that protest music's always been a kind of a tool for social justice, in a way of pushing forward things. And obviously musicians are very influential, and I was kind of interested in how much music has influenced animal rights as a justice issue. Because if you look at the kind of history of protest music, it's quite well documented, but the animal rights aspect of it is not documented in the slightest. So I've managed to trace it back, officially as far back as the 1700s, maybe even before that. But I've basically managed to document the entire story of how music and animal rights have worked together to push forward the cause, to answer the question, would animal rights be where it is today if it wasn't for the influence of music? And I think you could probably make a very strong argument that animal rights would not be where it is today, if it wasn't for music, especially the influence of the punk and hardcore scene in the kind of 80s and 90s, especially. Bands like Crass, Conflict, Flags Pink Indians, Earth Crisis, Vegan Reich, all that kind of stuff. But it covers every single genre you can think of, everything from classical music, folk music, even country music. There's a really good story about K.D. Lang doing a campaign with PETA and basically getting annoying the entire kind of cattle country community, and all the country music radio stations were banning her music because she did this Meat Stinks campaign with PETA and stuff. I don't really want to give too much away because there's this way too much, and I kind of want to. I've been kind of keeping things a secret for like 7 years, but we've interviewed like 150 musicians in total across all genres. Everyone from like Moby is involved in this, Earth Crisis, Tony from No Doubt, H2O, Doyle from the Misfits, pretty much any kind of vegan celebrity you can think of. I'm still trying to squeeze Jeff in there somewhere. As soon as I find a slot for him, I'm going to get him to do like a little quote.
I play ocarinas.
Nice.
Give me one line.
I've done some busking in my life with a guitarist.
Nice. I mean, I think if you want to see like a little idea of like just how much music is intertwined, I can give you some. I've literally got my animal rights music collection in here, and I can just grab a handful and kind of give you an idea. So Howard Jones in the 80s, he did a song called Assault and Battery, which was about factory farming. In his kind of fan club kind of literature, he always had like vegetarian recipes and stuff back in the day, and spoke up a lot about things. He used to do a lot with Peter and stuff. We've got, what's this one? Carcass. Some good death metal. This song's actually got all the names of the songs. A lot of them are about the different items that are used to like cut up flesh or kill animals. They've got like captive bolt pistol is one of the songs in there, which talks about the history of the captive bolt pistol. It's like the master's apron. It's got surgical grade steel. They got loads of good stuff on there. This is a anti-vivisection vinyl from the 90s, I believe. It's got like PJ Harvey's on there, EMF, some other random stuff. Band called Nature Core that were around, kind of that had been in the 90s. They were kind of in the same kind of scene as like Vegan Reich and stuff like that. They've got someone hunting a deer there, and then they've got a deer on the back who hunted a human and attached him to the car, which is pretty badass. Then you got Animal Liberation album. This was Peter's first album they released. It's got like Howard Jones, Morrissey, Captain Sensible from the Damned and stuff. This was like the first ever thing that Peter did music-wise. It was with Al Jorgensen from Ministry. This is the ALF. This was Conflict's compilation that they released at the end of the 80s. Got Exit Stance on there. The Apostles, Icons of Filth and stuff, which is really cool. Country Joe McDonald. He did a lot of songs about animals. This one's got Blood on the Ice.
I met him once.
Yeah, Blood on the Ice is about.
I met Country Joe.
Yeah, he's a legend. He's on the film. He's such a great guy.
I just met him in San Francisco randomly.
Oh, really? That's amazing.
Quite a while before I was vegan, but
he's such a dude.
And I recognized him.
Yeah, so Blood on the Ice is basically against the seal hunting. Then you got like Whale Song. Obviously, Whale Song actually is what inspired Greenpeace to go out and start the whales. Start fighting against it. Nick Kershaw also did a Save the Whale song. Rainbow Warriors, Greenpeace. That's obviously anti-whaling. Then we've got these, which is really interesting. These are the ALF actually had a record label, which most people don't know about, called Artists for Animals. and this was one of their releases, Liberator. It's got Madness. I've got an anti-vivisection track on here.
Oh wow!
Yeah, which is really cool, and a lot of people don't realize that Madness.
That would be like a bunch of like crust punk or something.
Yeah, no, this is actually really mixed. It's got kind of like the Style Council, which is Paul Weller from the Jam. His other thing, they've got an anti-hunting song on there. Got Captain Sensible, Chumbawamba, and then this is another one of theirs as well. Which is this has got a lot of different ones on. But yeah, I mean that is literally just a small handful of what I've got in total. That is nothing.
Have you heard of Street Justice?
Street Justice, are they a hardcore?
They're a new vegan hardcore band.
Yeah, I think I follow them on Instagram.
They're really good.
I tell you,
the lyrics are like top notch.
I'll tell you a band I really like at the moment for animal rights, which is I've got the vinyl. These, they're called To the Grave. They're an Australian deathcore band. Pretty much majority of their songs are about animal rights, and they've got this one particular song called Found Footage. If anyone's ever been on an undercover investigation, I don't know if anyone ever has. No one speaks about this, but you will very much relate to it. It very much explains the feelings that you have, like on that kind of build up to like planning the raid and going out and everything. It's you can tell the guys have done that stuff. But yeah, I absolutely love these guys at the moment.
What are they called again?
To the Grave.
To the Grave. Sick.
Yeah, and look up the Found Footage thing. Or what's the other good songs? Slaughter Forever, Holocaust Australia. That's a really good one. Where they're calling out the entire of Australia for their use of
Holy
animals.
shit.
Yeah, I love that one.
Street Justice is pretty dope. We were reading some of their lyrics the other day. We were like, "Holy shit!" Like these.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I follow them on Instagram.
Yeah, are they from Australia? Yeah, no, I don't know, but there's some good new throwback bands. But anyway, it's 7:33.
Or 3:33.
Sleep. Yeah. Thanks, guys. That was awesome.
Yeah,
holy crap!
Yeah, I really enjoyed chatting to you. It was great to meet everyone. Hopefully
and whenever you can make it back, we're gonna do it every Friday, and just keep doing it.
I mean, obviously, if you start it at 1 o'clock, it's a bit of an issue. But I'll do my best for it.
Yeah,
it sucks. We were trying to get another guy from the UK on too, and he's just like,
Yeah, if you mix it up and do some early ones, sometimes obviously I'll always do my best where I can.
Yeah, for sure. And then we got to work on
for me when I'm back in Korea too.
Yeah. What's the time difference there?
For too long.
What's the time difference there?
Korea is +9 from
like 7 hours.
Greenwich Mean Time, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might be a little tricky.
I've only just read Race's comment. I completely blanked that for a second. Thanks, Race.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Thanks, Chris.
We'll do. Can we leave on a propaganda quote? Life's too short to make others shorter. Propaganda quote.
Later, dudes.
Beautiful.
Catch you soon.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye, everyone. Right, I'm going to bed.